hear you breathing over there.
I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target!
Many such cases.
PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target!
All right.
PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
All right. It's Monday night. Let's go. Monday night, kick of the week off right. Dreadedconservative here. Checking in for the Monday show on Tuesday. We didn't do it yesterday because yesterday I went to the Not My President's Day protest. So didn't go to the gym, didn't do Bible study, came home, went to bed, slept for 2 hours, woke up, went to the protest for like 3 hours, came home, slept for another 2 hours, and then went to work. And so today, when I got home, I had to put this show together, and I've been editing. I've been doing a lot of editing. Been doing editing during my break at work, editing this morning. Hopefully, I can get it done tonight or tomorrow and have it up by Friday. What's today? Today's Wednesday or today's Tuesday? Might be able to get it up by Thursday. I don't know. Dude, Echo, I hear you breathing in my headphones. You're breathing loud, bud. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can hear him breathing in my monitor in my ears. We got a super chat from Panelverse before the stream even started. Let's go. Canadian money towards the computer.
I've been broke my whole life. Now money right.
All right, guys. Well, you can take after Panelverse's example here. You can super chat. You can send the cash apps to $Dreadedconservative. But the most important thing is to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got the bell on so you know whenever I'm live and when the new videos drop. But anyway, in the last segment of the show today, we will talk about the nationwide protests that have been, not just yesterday, it's been happening consistently since the 20th. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, which all that means to me is more chances to go viral, more chances to make content. A lot of conservative commentators blow up off of putting their feet on the pavement, you know, man on the street interviews, going to the protests. That's how you get yourself a job in the industry. That's how you secure your place. That's how Slightly Offensive did it. Fleckus talks. Bo Diddle's doing it now. Caitlin Bennett killing it out there. She's been doing some funny stuff lately, but I don't know. The protest she's going to, there's like 50 people there, and they're all like old people. That's not like the one I went to. The one I went to, there was a lot of angry Antifa and anarcho-communists. But we'll talk about all that at the end of the show. The beginning of the show, the main story news, it's all Trump and Elon. That's the big complaint that these anti-American people, protesters, have, is big problems with Trump and Elon. So we're going to talk about what Trump and Elon have been up to again. This is going to consume the news for a while until something big happens. Probably the next 4 years. So we're going to check out sit-downs with Russia. Trump did not meet with Putin, but some teams sent from America and some teams sent from Russia and Europe, they all met up working on some sort of peace deal with Ukraine. So we'll look at all that stuff. That happened today. We'll watch a video of what happened at the meeting. Then we got Trump firings. Lots of big firings going on. Lots of people in the government getting fired and gutted. The government's getting gutted, which is exactly what we wanted, which is exactly what we voted for. Which, surprisingly, if these anarcho-communist, Antifa, lefties weren't morons, they would understand that this is what they want too. They want less government. Like, you're an anarcho-communist. You want less government. He's firing people from the government. You want them to stop taking all of our money and taxes and spending it on garbage and laundering it. That's what he's doing. So we'll talk about Elon, the hot take on his tweet that he made recently about why, oh my God, he has access to our data. How I've been talking about this for years. Same thing with TikTok. They already got all your data. They've had all your data. Quit crying about the data. It's dumb. We'll talk about all that. And first sit-down interview with Trump and Elon. I have not watched it yet. We're going to watch it today. We're going to check that out. And then in Rapid Fire, we got a segment on strange killings. Lots of, there's like a cult. Apparently there was a cult. I haven't even really looked into it yet. There was a cult that was caught. They were doing nationwide, like, murder. They're out here murdering guys. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the Sam Nordquist, a transgender individual who was killed by 5 other people who, we're going to look at the picture. There was suspicion that it was a hate crime, that they were all involved in the LGBT movement, and they killed this other LGBT person. Then they came out and they said, no, it's not a hate crime. Suspicions of the hate crime are wrong. I think they're playing cover up. I think it's a cover job. Because, same way that, unless it's a straight white Christian male doing the killing, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you what their real motives are. Because only straight white Christian men can do hate crimes in America. Duh. So that's what we're going to talk about. Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. Quit spamming my chat. I'm going to put you in timeout because you're a retard. Here, you get 1 minute. If you come back and you keep spamming, I'm just going to ban you. All right. Let's get into this. So first, we're going to look at this these talks with Russia, these peace talks. Russia does not want to cede territory. They don't want to lose any of the land that they've gained. And most political pundits that I've been hearing have been saying that that's what they need to do. They need to cede the land and just give Ukraine the land, and then the war can stop. Russia doesn't want to give up the land. And people are saying if Trump bends a knee on this and lets Putin keep his land, it sends a message that he can start encroaching into the Balkans, and he can keep pushing farther and farther. They're comparing it to Hitler. Shocker. What don't they compare to Hitler? Okay, we got some retards in the chat. Hold on, I hit the wrong thing. Cool. Word towers. Those were cool in like 2010. Do I have any mods here yet that can handle the trolls? Where's Amanda at? So hold on one second, guys. We got trolls here. They have a account bot. Here, we'll just keep banning them. As soon as they come in, we'll ban them. Where's my mods? Who wants to be a mod? Who's in the chat that wants to be a mod? And just ban all the trolls. All right, so from AP, European leaders want a say in talks to end Russia's war in Ukraine. We're going to start early and we're going to work our way up to today. The U.S. is brushing them off. The U.S. doesn't want Europe or the EU involved in these peace talks because they're just going to make it worse. They make everything worse. So this is from Paris AP. European leaders insisted Monday they must have a say in international talks to end the war in Ukraine, despite the clear message from both Washington and Moscow that there was no role for them as yet in negotiations that could shape the future of the continent. 3 hours of emergency talks at the LC Palace in Paris left leaders in Germany, the United Kingdom, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the Netherlands, Denmark, NATO, and the European Union without a common view on possible peacekeeping troops after a U.S. diplomatic blitz on Ukraine last week threw a once solid transatlantic alliance into turmoil. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called for U.S. backing while reaffirming he's ready to consider sending British forces on the Ukrainian ground alongside others if there's a lasting peace agreement. There was a rift throughout some EU nations like Poland, which have said they don't want their military imprint on Ukraine soil. French President Emmanuel Macron, his wife is a man, that's a joke, was non-committal. Is it a joke? I don't know. Macron said overnight he spoke by phone to U.S. President Donald Trump and then Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky following the meeting. We seek a strong and lasting peace in Ukraine, Macron said on the social platform X. To achieve this, Russia must end its aggression, and this must be accompanied by strong and credible security guarantees for the Ukrainians. We got to make sure we take care of them. Trump is it China or Ukraine? I think it's Ukraine. He's saying that we're going to keep funding their war or funding their protection as long as they provide us with rare earth minerals, so we can make Teslas for cheaper. Good deal. He's making a deal. He's doing what he does best. He's making a deal. Let's make a deal. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof acknowledged the Europeans need to come to a common conclusion about what we can contribute, and that we. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to watch the chat. Need to come to a common conclusion about what we can contribute, and that way we will eventually get a seat at the table, adding that just sitting at the table without contributing is pointless. Starmer said a transatlantic bond remained essential. There must be a U.S. backstop because a U.S. security guarantee is the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again, he said. Top U.S. officials from the Trump administration on their first visit to Europe last week left the impression that Washington was ready to embrace the Kremlin while it cold-shouldered many of its age-old European allies. Remember, this is AP. This is AP. All my sources are going to be biased to the left. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. We know that they will straight up lie to our faces. So we're embracing Kremlin. We should turn our shoulders to some of those European allies, but that doesn't mean we're embracing the Kremlin. the U.S. to leave Europe out of negotiations. General Keith Kellogg, Trump's special envoy for Ukrainian and Russia, said Monday he didn't think it was reasonable and feasible to have everybody sitting at the table. We know how that can turn out, and that has been our point, is keeping it clean and fast as we can, he told reporters in Brussels, where he briefed the 31 U.S. allies in NATO along with UE officials before heading to Kiev for talks on Wednesday with Zelensky. His remarks were echoed by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who was equally dismissive about a role for Europe. I don't know. This is not Zelensky talking, but I'm guessing if his name's Sergei Lavrov, he probably sounds similar. I don't know what they have to do at the negotiations table, he said as he arrived in Saudi Arabia for talks with U.S. officials. Last week, Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, in a flurry of speeches, questioned both Europe's security commitment and its fundamental democratic principles. So that's what AP is saying. We'll take a look at Reuters. Hold on, this is redirecting me. And then I want to show you something from Al Jazeera, the Muslim news network. Reuters, far left also. Russia rules out territorial concessions on eve of talks with Trump team. So this is what I was talking about. Russia saying we could talk about this, but listen, we're not giving up what we've won. We're not 1 foot back, not one step back. Summary: Putin sends Lavrov and Ushakov to meet Americans, Rubio, Waltz, and Witkoff in U.S. delegation. Lavrov says no point in having Europeans at the table. Lavrov says there will be no territorial concessions. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Monday ruled out territorial concessions to Ukraine, setting out a tough opening stance on the eve of talks on Tuesday with U.S. President Donald Trump's team in Saudi Arabia. Trump said after a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday that the two sides would begin talks aimed at ending the war in Ukraine. The Kremlin said Lavrov and Yuri Ushakov, a Kremlin foreign policy advisor who has also been ambassador to Washington, would meet U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday. Lavrov said there will be no talk of territorial concessions to Ukraine. They're not giving up the land, around 20% of which is controlled by Russian forces. Territorial concessions to what is now called Ukraine were made by the Soviet leadership during the formation of the USSR, Lavrov said before heaping scorn on a Ukrainian bid to do a deal giving the United States access to minerals, the rare earth that I was talking about. How should we go in, with Russian people or with rare earth metals, Lavrov said. Reuters reported in November that Putin was already negotiating a deal with Trump, but would refuse to make major territorial concessions and would insist Kiev abandon ambitions to join NATO. So Ukraine can't join NATO, which was always the deal. They always said, we don't want Ukraine joining NATO. We don't want NATO any closer to our land, not one more inch. They did it anyway, and this is why the war started. You know, Russia's had problems with Ukraine under all three of the last Democrat presidents. Clinton. No, I don't know about Clinton. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Clinton. Maybe Bush, too. Bush might as well be a Democrat. We see his true colors now. A lot of people always saw his true colors, but Obama and Biden. Not under Trump, though. Crazy. For a Nazi, he's really anti-war, this Trump guy. Isn't that strange? Okay. Hold up. All right. Before we watch a video of the meeting from yesterday, I want to read one more thing from Al Jazeera. So this is... Now, Al Jazeera is Middle Eastern Muslim propaganda. So, again, grain of salt here. We will last 6 months, quote, if Trump pulls U.S. military aid from Ukraine. Darn. U.S. President Donald Trump's recent statements and planned meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin raised fresh uncertainty about Washington's support for Ukraine. from Kiev, Ukraine, ahead of the emergency summit in Paris on Europe's response to being excluded from U.S.-Russia peace talks. Ukraine's president warned of his country's bleak future if U.S. military aid is cut. We will have low chance to survive without support of the United States. We will have low chance to survive without support of the United States. President Volodymyr Zelensky said in an interview on the NBC News program Meet the Press. In December, U.S. President Donald Trump said he was open to the idea of reducing military aid to Ukraine. In a move that could further strain relations, Zelensky rejected a proposed U.S. agreement granting Washington access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for continued military aid. The refusal, along with Trump's recent statements and private calls with both Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin, have raised fresh uncertainty about Washington's long-term support for Kiev. With U.S. support uncertain, Europe faces mounting pressure to fill the gap. Let them pay for it. During the February 14th through 16th Munich Security Conference, Zelensky appeared. Trump says, there's a whole ocean between us and them. Europe should be paying more. Europe's not paying. We're paying everything. And we have what's called an ocean. They call it an ocean in between us and Russia. Europe doesn't have an ocean. They should be paying more. They don't pay. During the February 14th through 16th Munich Security Conference, Zelensky appeared to respond to Trump's actions and comments by raising the issue of Europe building its own military. Let's be honest. We can't rule out the possibility that America might say no to Europe on an issue that threatens us. Oh, are you getting worried now, Zelensky? You can't keep laundering money? You can't keep laundering American taxpayer money? Darn. Zelensky's big sad. And the anarcho-communists are big mad. Because what? Because we're not going to send our money to Ukraine anymore? And they don't like big government. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Hola, serendipity. Greetings. Okay. I get the point. I'm not going to read this whole article. Let's watch some of this. This is 20 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing.
We're joined down by the U.S.
I have a shorter version.
At their meetings with the Russians. Are you walking away with this with any agreements for any follow-up conversations?
So this is
Well,
the
I would
meeting.
start by saying we've agreed on 4 principles that I think are important. The first is that
Audio's bad. It's only mono.
We're going to appoint our teams respectively that have worked very quickly to reestablish the functionality of our respective missions in Washington and in Moscow. For us to be able to continue to move down this road, we need to have diplomatic facilities that are operating and functioning normally. The second point is that we're going to appoint a high-level team from our end to help negotiate and work through the end of the conflict in Ukraine in a way that's enduring and acceptable to all the parties engaged. The third point is to begin to work at a high level as well to begin to discuss and think about and examine both the geopolitical and economic cooperation that could result from an end to the conflict in Ukraine. Obviously, we'd have to see.
This is from Forbes, by the way. Forbes breaking news. Uncle Rubio, Waltz, and Witkoff. This is after the Russian delegation in Saudi Arabia.
See that conflict come to a successful and enduring end in order for that to be possible. And the last thing we agreed to is that while our teams are going to be working on all of this, the 4 of us who were here today, the 5 of us that were here today, are going to remain engaged in this process to make sure that it's moving along in a productive way.
What does an enduring and successful end look like? Did you present any proposals to the Russians today?
Welcome back to Papa John's. I'm hanging.
We got to add. Sorry, guys. Uno momento.
Well,
Would she ask, what does the end to the war look like today?
make sure that it's moving along in a productive way.
What does an enduring and successful end look like? Did you present any proposals to the Russians today?
Well, there are some underlying principles. This needs to be a permanent end to the war and not a temporary end as we've seen in the past. We know just the practical reality.
I mean, it'll be permanent as long as Trump's in office. And then as soon as another Democrat gets in, war's back on, boys. Let's get them. That's what they're going to be saying in Russia.
Is that there is going to be some discussion of territory and there's going to be discussion of security guarantees. Those are just fundamental basics that will.
Bro, this flag looks like it's made out of cardboard. Are these flags or are these like dunce caps with flags painted on them?
Undergird and underlie any type of discussion. But I think the most important part is the president has stated his desire, his determination to end this war, to end the killing that is going on, the death and destruction that is happening as this war goes on and on, month after month after month, in the killing fields of eastern and southern Ukraine is unacceptable. It is not in the interest of either country. It's not in the interest of the world, and certainly not in the interest of the United States and Europe. So all of those things will drive the negotiations going forward. And as you can see, President Trump is determined to move very quickly. We just had a head of state phone call, the first in years.
Ended on the first day.
And here we are less than a week later at the highest level of the U.S. and Russian government, and we expect to continue to drive that pace.
Killing it out.
To not only end the war, but then to unlock what could be very productive and stabilizing relationships going forward.
You mentioned territories. Is it acceptable to the U.S. for Russia to retain any territory that is annexed since the...
So this is the key question, because Putin says he's not giving up any land. And I don't think Trump's going to make him, and the media's going to have a field day with that. They're already, upset about that.
The beginning of the war in February 2022?
Well, I think those are things that those are to be discussed, and those are things that will start and do the tough work ahead. But the important thing is that we've started that process, and what the president did not find acceptable was an endless war in Europe.
I don't think they're going to make him cede the territory. I think they're going to let him keep it, what he got, and work out some sort of other deal. Keep funding Ukraine as long as they give us the rare earth so we get something out of the deal. Tell Russia, calm it down, make a deal with them, let them keep the land that they have as long as they stop fighting. That's my guess, but I don't know. I'm not a geopolitician.
That was literally has turned into a meat grinder of people on both sides. So if you just think about, just in a few months, President Trump has shifted the entire global conversation from not if the war is going to end, but just how it's going to end. And only President Trump can do that. And in the Oval Office less than a week ago, both President Putin and President Zelensky both said to him, only you, President Trump, could drive this war to a conclusion.
What concessions do you expect?
Well, again, we're not going to pre-negotiate an end to this conflict. These are the...
Nor are we going to tell the media all of our plans. That would be dumb. Driving but listening, no problem, Warpig.
Kinds of things that have to happen through hard and difficult diplomacy in closed rooms over a period of time. What's important to understand is two things. The first is the only leader in the world who can make this happen, who can even bring people together to begin to talk about it in a serious way, is President Trump. He's the only one in the world that can do that right now. The second thing I would say is that in order for a conflict to end, everyone involved in that conflict has to be okay with it. It has to be acceptable to them. But we have to understand that it's been 3.5 years since there's been any sort of regularized
do these people not have lives that just make alt accounts
and in some cases between any of the participants in this conflict?
What is your life?
So the goal of today's meeting was to follow up on the phone call the president had a week ago and begin to establish those lines of communication.
Finish it.
The work remains.
Who?
Today is the first step of a long and difficult journey, but an important one.
Mike Jones?
And President Trump is committed to bringing an end to this conflict, and as he said when he campaigned for president. And he wants it to end in a way that's fair. He wants it to end in a way that's sustainable and enduring, not that leads to another conflict in 2 to 3 years. That's not going to be easy to achieve, but he's the only one in the world that can begin that process. Donald Trump is the only leader in the world that could initiate that process. And today was the first step in that process.
Is sanctions
What a lame.
to be involved in any of this normalizing or trying to...
Oh, it was. My chat was a little delayed. They did finish it.
Bring up
Now they're
sanctions
gone.
relief in the meeting today.
Well, sanctions are all the result of this conflict. There are sanctions that
waste
were
a little
imposed
more
as
of
a
your life.
result of...
You could be like, I don't know, learning something, not being an idiot. I don't know, do something with your life instead of just trolling little YouTube channels. But nah. Worthless people gonna do what worthless people gonna do.
Beta!
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
That's not to Marco. That's to the lame in the chat. All right. So, you know, they're not going to be able to answer a lot of these questions. They're going to have to keep it on the hush. Keep it on the hush hush. Keep it on the down low. It's so funny when the media asks Trump like questions about what's your military strategy going to be with Panama? Are you going to send the military into Panama? He's like, I don't know. We'll keep the option open. I'm not saying we will. I'm not saying we won't. Like, what do you want him to give all of our strategies away of how we're going to run the world? And then they get mad when he doesn't answer the question. No, he's not going to answer that question, you moron. So Trump and Putin did not meet. I thought that was happening this week, but they say it is imminent. From Politico, Trump-Putin meeting not, well, no, I'm sorry. Politico says it's not imminent, but I think they're wrong. I think it will happen. Of course it's imminent. It's going to happen at some point. We just don't know when. Politico says Trump-Putin meeting not imminent as first U.S.-Russia talks on Ukraine finish in Riyadh. Intensive work is needed before meeting between the two leaders, says top Kremlin aide after 4.5 hours of negotiations in Saudi Arabia. Negotiations Tuesday between Russia and the United States, led by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, have concluded. The bilateral talks lasted about 4.5 hours, and according to Russian leader Vladimir Putin's top aide Yuri Yushkov, the negotiations went well. There was a serious conversation on all the issues we wanted to raise, Yushkov told journalists after meeting, according to Russian state-owned news agency RIA Novosti. So this is the most recent. This is from today because they just had this meeting earlier today. The other articles I read was the lead up to this. Ukraine's future was on the agenda. Russia has been waging a full-scale war there for 3 years, and the U.S. is determined to claim swaths of the country's mineral wealth, though Kiev was left out of the discussion. According to Yushkov, the two sides agreed to take into account each other's interests and advance bilateral relations, and Moscow and Washington will work towards setting up a meeting between their leaders. However, a summit between President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump is unlikely to take place next week, as intensive work is needed first, according to the aide. The U.S. Department called the meeting an important step forward, as Lavrov and Rubio agreed to form high-level negotiation teams to discuss a settlement to the war in Ukraine as soon as possible in a way that is enduring, sustainable, and acceptable to all sides. The United States wants to stop the killing and is using its strength in the world to bring countries together, U.S. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce told journalists after the talk. However, ahead of the meeting, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said any talks about peace in Ukraine without Kiev's involvement would bring no result. So if Russia says we're going to stop the war, but we're keeping Kiev, Zelensky says, no, keep sending us money because we're going to keep fighting Russia. Ukraine is going to keep fighting Russia as long as the whole world has our back. Get us, big brother. It's like when a little kid gets in a fight at school, he's like, I'm going to run and tell my dad. Stop starting fights. Maybe you shouldn't have brought NATO into Ukraine like you agreed to. Pushing up on Russia. They don't want that. They don't want that. And now Ukraine wants nukes. They want some nukes. I wonder if there's a clip of that. Let me see if I can find a clip of that real quick, because I don't think we played that before. Zelensky asks for nukes. Hold on, I need to go to YouTube. Find a clip for you real quick. How should I search this? This might work. Putin warns Russia will use nuclear weapons. Zelensky, we want nukes. Plus Tucker Carlson. Yeah, it's in this Piers Morgan thing somewhere. me see if they have it time-stamped, because this is an hour and a half long. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find the... Would he consider surrendering territory to Russia? This is when Zelensky came on Piers Morgan.
Not NATO, we will need to sustain a million army. But the hundreds of thousands that we have will be not enough. Because you can see that they are on the offense and we do not have enough to fully them out of our territory. That means that we will need to finance a million army at the very least. That is huge money.
Stop begging.
To develop the production, most of our budget, to allocate the funds to defenses, to air defense, to drones, etc., etc. In any case, that is militarization of Ukraine. Do you think we want that? We want security guarantees. We want to invest in social, humanitarian
And we want some nukes.
We want to rebuild Ukraine, our cultural heritage.
Just say it.
That was destroyed. We want to develop our state.
And you want some nukes.
That is not only military technologies. That is many other things. Humanitarian things, medicine, culture, sports. We need money for all that. Where we will get it?
Money and nukes.
That is very difficult. So that's why I believe that NATO is the cheapest option. If not NATO, then we must say that is huge army.
I will say, Zelensky's voice is much more masculine than this interpreter's voice. He sounds a bit like Kermit the Frog. We're gonna need NATO, and we're gonna need a lot of soldiers and some nuclear missiles.
Huge money. That means plus contingents of our partners, and undoubtedly that is a big deterrence missile package against the Ruskies if they start to go on offense, that we can use these long-range fires.
I mean, it's a very interesting response. I mean, what I took away from that is that full NATO membership is not a deal breaker for you. In other words, if there can be a package of support in terms of reinforcing your military, paying for that to give you the kind of military protection that you believe you need to deter Putin from attacking again, that you would not necessarily consider full membership of NATO as a deal breaker in any settlement.
It will be just a big risk that the war breaks out. We will devote all our lives not to economy, but to the preparation of another invasion of Russia. So with such support and such weaponry, it will be not that scary for us on the one hand, but on the other hand, it will be scary for everybody else, for the businesses, for the economy. Who will put money into Ukraine if people will know that we are not NATO members and that the risk of Russia's attack with big army is increasing? With NATO, it's decreasing, but without it will be increasing. So the contingent that can be present in Ukraine, yes, it can be a deterrence factor against Russia, but Piers, that is all magnificent on the way to NATO. If we are not in NATO, tomorrow we must understand when we are in NATO. And that also adds up to the support. And in all this, may I have the question? I would like to ask you a question. You say that Putin started the war, there is such opinion, because we were about to become a NATO member. So then I have the question, if we're now not NATO members, and
then why is the war going on?
Some people do not want to get us to NATO, why he doesn't leave our territories? Please agree that there is a logic. And
you're like a soft NATO member.
What I would say is, don't mistake what people are saying about this for my own opinion. I mean, let me be clear. Mr. President, let me be clear. I do not personally believe that is the reason he invaded Ukraine. I think he just wanted to get his hands on Ukraine, and he didn't care how many people he killed to do it. But there is, as you know, what he tells his people is that he's doing this for the protection of the national security of Russia, that he couldn't have Ukraine joining NATO because that would present an exponential.
But that was the deal that was made beforehand. So why wouldn't you assume this, Piers?
Threat to an existential threat to the security of the Russian people. I don't agree with that, and that's what he tells his people. And so I'm moving forward to when you're all sitting around a table and you're trying to negotiate your way to an end of the hot stage of the war. I just don't see any way he allows you, as part of that settlement, to become a full member of NATO. And that's why it's interesting to me that you're now outlining a potential plan B, if you like, which involves enough guarantees of security, particularly with the military, that you're able to deter him from attacking again. And I think is that a correct understanding?
We're going to get in a world war because Zelensky's going to drop nukes on Russia. That's great.
Position.
Якщо сьогодні в якійсь перспективі в майбутньому, то
If NATO is not today, but in some time in the future, then all this process when we go to NATO, all this time when we are
See, he's still saying we are going to go to NATO eventually.
waiting, no matter how long it takes, and unfortunately does not depend on us. If this process is protracted for years or decades, not because of us, but because of partners, then we have absolutely just question what will be defending us against this evil for this whole time on this whole path.
Okay, enough of that. Yeah. So he still wants to join NATO eventually. And he wants nukes. Awesome. Nukes and more money. Nukes and more money. So, you know, that's a hot topic right now. What's going on with Ukraine and Russia? I mean, it's been a hot topic for a minute, but it kind of fell off the radar for a bit with the stuff going on with Israel and Gaza and Trump being brought back into office. But now we're going to see what Trump can get done over there and if we can resolve this conflict. Let's move on. Let's look at some of the firings, mass firings that have been being done since Trump has got back in. They're doing what we wanted them to do. They're gutting the government. We're tired of paying for all these people who don't do anything. And it's starting. So first from NPR, health agencies lose staff members in key areas as Trump firings set in. The health agencies. Remember our national ambassador to health was the overweight, mentally unstable, transgender gentleman. And so I'm sure there's a lot of fat that could be trimmed out of the health agencies. And now that we got RFK in, like, what are they doing to keep us healthy? Our food is garbage. The Vaselines are garbage. Everybody's getting dumber. Everybody's getting more autistic. I can't wait till they get to the Department of Education and the Pentagon and look at all the all the wasteful spending going on there and all the money laundering going on there. But first, health agencies. Termination letters landed in the mailboxes of hundreds of employees at the Centers for Disease Control and the CDC. Got them. Let's go. And the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institutes of Health over the weekend as the Trump administration moved ahead with firings announced verbally Friday. That's according to more than half a dozen current staffers who requested anonymity because they are not authorized to speak publicly and feared repercussions. The numbers of employees who lost their job at the NIH and CDC was lower than initially expected. See, he's being merciful. It's less than what he said. As CDC current staff members say, they haven't been told why and still fear that more cuts could be coming. You haven't been told why? How about because you helped shut down the world for the sniffles? What up, Robert? Among staff who were caught up in the first wave of layoffs, PhD-trained scientists tasked with helping local and state officials respond to outbreaks. Yeah. Were they involved with the coof? I bet. Fire them. You're fired. Employees who ensure that medical devices for patients with cancer and diabetes are safe. What's up, Big Redsky? Shout out. Thank you, sir. Employees who ensure that medical devices for patients with cancer and diabetes are safe, and a public health worker stationed, did I say this is NPR? At an international airport who enforces regulations to prevent animals carrying rabies and other infectious diseases from entering the U.S. Is that what they're doing, or are they working on some gain-of-function research on some pangolins, allegedly, in China? Altogether, about 750 CDC employees received termination letters. Let's go. Over the weekend, according to a current CDC staffer who was on call with agency leadership and another who reviewed an internal memo. On Friday, CDC leadership told staff that 10% of the agency's workforce, about 1,300 employees, would be notified they'd be losing their jobs based. I'm going to work tomorrow, and I don't know who's employed, said one of the CDC staffers who had yet to receive any official notification about exactly which employees in their division had lost their job. You might lose your job, buddy. At the National Institute of Health, between 1,000 and 1,200 employees recently received notification Saturday night that they were being cut. Two staffers with knowledge of the situation told NPR, this is a few hundred fewer than was expected. So he's being nice. He's being nice. So health agencies getting mass firings at health agencies. Now, this is an interesting one. This is from Federal News Network, and they're just reposting from AP. This Trump begins firings of FAA staff just weeks after fatal D.C. plane crash. So this sounds bad on its face. You know, what's FAA? The Flight Aviation Agency? Or something like that. What is the FAA? Federal Aviation Administration. Flight Aviation. Federal Aviation. I mean, he's probably hiring all the he's probably firing all the DEI hires. And we're going to get better people in there for the job. Which, on its face, it seems bad because they're already obviously short-staffed and not working to their full, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential. They're not doing what they need to be doing. You know, Boeing is not being ran right. The flight control, the ground control is not being ran right. And a lot of this, we covered this a couple weeks ago, is due to Obama administration policies to push for DEI. And I guess there weren't enough of certain types of people applying for the job. So nobody was getting hired. So it's understaffed. And then the people that are in there at the top levels, the top brass, are a bunch of DEI hires. And Trump's cutting them. And I'm sure they'll get some better people in their place. Or they'll make it run more efficiently because maybe they don't need all these extra people. Maybe this is a lot of wasted money that is being spent. The Trump administration has begun firing several hundred Federal Aviation Administration employees, upending staff on a busy air travel weekend, and just weeks after a January fatal mid-air collision at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. There's actually like two more crazy plane crashes this week. One plane landed and like flipped over. I don't think I have that story, but I read it yesterday. But I don't think I have it in my file. Probationary workers were targeted. Thanks, Obama. Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. What up, Elderline? Probationary workers were targeted in late-night emails Friday, notifying them they had been fired. David Sparrow, president of the Professional Aviation Safety Specialists Union, said in a statement. The impacted workers include personnel hired for FAA radar, landing, and navigational aid maintenance. One air traffic controller told the Associated Press the air traffic controller was not authorized to talk to the media and spoke on condition of anonymity. In a message posted to X late Monday, they never give sources anymore. Never getting sources anymore. In a message posted to X late Monday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said fewer than 400 FAA employees were fired and 0 air traffic controllers and critical safety personnel were let go. So, who are they hiring? They're hiring useless workers, morons that don't do anything, that just got hired because of their sexual orientation or their skin color, which is racist. I'm not racist for saying that's a bad thing to do. They're racist for doing it, And now they're getting fired. That's my guess. Just a guess. A transportation department official told the AP earlier Monday that the agency has retained employees who perform critical safety functions. In a follow-up query, the agency said they would have to look into whether the radar, landing, and navigational aid workers affected were considered to handle critical safety functions. The National Air Traffic Controllers Association said in a brief statement Monday it was analyzing the effect of the reported federal employee terminations on aviation safety, the national airspace system, and our members. Other FAA members who were fired were working on an urgent and classified early warning radar system the Air Force had announced in 2023. We're going to build an Iron Dome. We don't need you guys. For Hawaii to detect incoming cruise missiles through a program. Do they detect incoming lasers? I'm kind of joking when I say that. Kind of. Getting a birthday for, oh, cool. Tell them I said happy birthday from the Dreaded Conservative, War Pig son. Let's go. Through a program that was in part funded by the Defense Department, it's one of several programs that the FAA's National Airspace System Defense Program manages that involves radars providing long-range detection around the country's borders. Yeah, we don't need you guys at the FAA handling this. We're going to build an Iron Dome around America. The salary for a lot of FAA people is lower than I thought it would be. Yeah, so I mean they could get another job. It'd be all right. Now they know what it feels like to get laid off, like all the people in America who weren't considered what was the word that they used when they were firing people during the coup? It's only like $40K. I make that on a low stress government job. Bro, I almost make that at the place where I work. I make that, that's not that great. I don't make that, but I make close to it. Get a promotion. I'll be making about that much. We keep up this YouTube run. I might be making close to that. For the FAA. Due to the nature of their work, staff in the office typically provide an extensive knowledge transfer before retiring to make sure no institutional knowledge is lost. Charles Spritzer Standlander, one of the employees in that branch who was terminated, the Hawaii Radar and FAA Defense Program Office working on it, are about protecting national security. Spitzer Standlander said. Why does he have a hyphenated last name? I don't think they even know what the NDP does. They just thought, oh, no big deal. He just works for the FAA. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they thought. I'm sure no thought went into this at all. He just said, let's just go fire some random people. Amanda, we got a lot of trolls in here today. I need you. If they come back in, get them. You're off your leash. Go. I think they gave up on me, though. Somebody with no life was coming in with account after account after account, just word towers and spamming the chat. So get them if they come in. Okay, so yeah. I think you just randomly fired people. You're an idiot. Now, it's going to seem like I'm about to eat my words here because Freddie brought this up. I'll cover it, Freddie. I'll cover it just for you. Even though you misled my chat, like Democrats do, you lied and said that Trump fired the people who control the nuclear codes, which is not what happened. They fired a bunch of people in the nuclear energy sector, the nuclear sector, and some of them happen to be people who worked with the stockpile of our nuclear weapons. Doesn't mean that they're guys who have the nuclear codes and they're just going to be walking out with the nuclear football now that they're fired and they can just start launching nukes. But they fired a bunch of people. Turns out they want some of them back. They made some mistakes. They confessed to the mistake. They confessed they made the mistake. And now they're trying to fix it, but there's a problem. They can't contact the people because they had government emails, and now that they're fired, they no longer have a government email. So it's a slip up. I'll call it. 100% they said those control the nuclear codes. Yeah, I know. He's a dummy. So, they made a mistake. They accepted their mistake. So I'll call them on it, Trump administration, this is from WBAL Ball TV 11. Trump administration tries to bring back fired nuclear weapon workers in Doge reversal. And what I'm assuming is they thought they were just firing a bunch of Homer Simpsons. They thought they were just firing a bunch of guys who sit around and do nothing all day except drink coffee and eat donuts and push a button every now and then. And they're like, we can do that. We don't need you. Why are we paying you so much money to do nothing? It's the same thing when Elon came into X, he fired a bunch of people and now it's running at much higher efficiency. Elon knows how to do this stuff. That's why he's there helping with this. But they made a mistake. They cut some people they shouldn't have cut. The Trump administration has halted the firings of hundreds of federal employees who were tasked with working on the nation's nuclear weapons program in an about-face that has left workers confused and experts cautioning that Doge's blind cost-cutting will put communities at risk. 3 U.S. officials who spoke to the Associated Press said up to 350 employees at the National Nuclear Security Administration were abruptly laid off late Thursday, with some losing access to email before they'd learned they were fired, only to try to enter their offices on Friday morning to find they were locked out. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of retaliation. One of the hardest hit officers was the Pantex plant near Amarillo, Texas, which saw about 30% of the cuts. Those employees work on reassembling warheads, one of the most sensitive jobs across the nuclear weapons enterprise with the highest levels of clearance. The hundreds let go at NNSA were part of a Doge purge across the Department of Energy that target about 2,000 employees. The Doge people are coming in with absolutely no knowledge of what these departments are responsible for, said Daryl Kimball, executive director of the Arms Control Association, referencing Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency team. They don't seem to realize that it's actually the Department of Nuclear Weapons more than it is the Department of Energy. By late Friday night, the agency's acting director, Teresa Now, I'm not going to take this guy's word for it. They did make a mistake, but I'm sure there was a reason for the mistake. By late Friday night, the agency's acting director, Teresa Robbins, issued a memo rescinding the firings for all but 28 of those hundreds of fired staff members. This letter serves as a formal notification that the termination decision issued to you on February 13, 2025 has been rescinded, effective immediately, said the memo, which was obtained by the AP. The accounts from the 3 officials contradict an official statement from the Department of Energy, which said fewer than 50 National Security Administration staffers were let go, calling them probationary employees who held primarily administration and clerical roles. So see, we have differing accounts on this. So we've got hearsay from vexed employees saying they don't even know what they're doing. They're just firing people. But then we have the Department of Energy saying that fewer people were let go who were probationary employees who held primarily administration and clerical roles. They were paper pushers. We don't need paper pushers in 2025 anymore. Sorry, AI's taking your job. So there are still differing accounts on this. So let's not, if they made a mistake, I'll call them on it. They made a mistake. They owned up. They're trying to correct the mistake. Trump's got a lot going on. It's his first couple of weeks. So secretaries, yeah. Yes. So they fired a bunch of secretaries, is what the Department of Energy says. Meanwhile, a bunch of angry employees are saying they're just firing everybody in there. Now, even Trump fesses up that, yeah, we fired some of the wrong people. We got some people we shouldn't have fired, and we're going to fix that. Okay. Made a mistake, clearing it up. Sorry, he's trying to handle multiple world wars, fix the economy, shut down the border, get all the illegal immigrants out, stop people cutting wieners off of little boys. He's got a lot of things to do. He's got a lot on his plate. And they made a little mistake. They fired some of the wrong people. They're going to get them back. But also, I think this is also being blown a little out of proportion. So, to be fair, made a mistake. Not as bad as the media is making it sound, though. This is a pivotal moment. We must decide whether we are truly committed to leading on the world stage or if we are content with undermining the very systems that secure our nation's future. Deputy Division Director Rob Plonsky posted to LinkedIn. Oh, you posted it on your LinkedIn? Cutting the federal workforce responsible for these functions may be seen as reckless at best and adversarially opportunistic at worst. While some of the Energy Department employees who were fired dealt with energy efficiency and the effects of climate change. Okay. Maybe that's the real issue here. The real issue is they fired a bunch of people who do nothing but work on fake climate change. Or maybe they're people who are changing the weather. Working on climate change? What does that mean? What does that mean, huh? They fired some secretaries and some climate change workers. So see, when you read deeper, you see that it's more of a story than what the headline tells you. You have to read more than just the headline. Dealt with energy efficiency effects and climate change, issues not seen as priorities by the Trump administration or anybody in America who's halfway reasonable. We have a lot of other issues other than climate change. Let Elon. We'll get our electric cars, and it'll help the climate. Look at that, capitalism. It's almost like being a steward to the planet is also profitable. And there's an incentive to have cleaner energy, and that if you let capitalists capitalize, they're going to handle that. Socialists don't tend to make very clean governments. Take a look at China. Communists don't tend to care much about climate change. This included managing massive radioactive waste sites and ensuring the materials there doesn't further contaminate nearby communities. I think a lot of that is wasteful spending because I think a lot of that's BS. But we've seen the radioactive levels in Chernobyl and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they've totally rebuilt Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's supposed to be like Fallout. It's supposed to be mutants and zombies walking around. They rebuilt it in like they were back there rebuilding in 6 months. Chernobyl, they won't let anybody go near it, but there's packs of wild dogs that they've done studies on, and these dogs are all fine. They're healthy. They have slightly lower lifespan because of the fact that they're feral. They kill each other. They're crazy freaking feral dogs, so they die a little younger because they don't have a lot of food and they're fighting for food and they're killing each other. That's why their lifespan is shorter. No negative effects of the radioactive material left over by Chernobyl. None. It's all BS. Thank you for the gifted membership, Robert. Let's go.
La 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 la, wait till I get my money right.
U.S. Rep. Marcy Kaptur of Ohio and U.S. Senator Patty Murray of Washington, both Democrats, called the firings last week utterly callous and dangerous. I'm sure they did. The NNSA staff who had been reinstated could not all be reached after they were fired, and some were reconsidered whether to return to work given the uncertainty created by Doge. So basically, like NBC saying here, Trump administration wants to unfire nuclear safety workers but can't figure out how to reach them because they don't have their government emails anymore. National Nuclear Security Administration officials on Friday attempted to notify some employees who had been let go the day before that they were now due to be reinstated, but they struggled to find them because they didn't have their new contact information. In an email sent to employees at NNSA obtained by NBC News, officials wrote the termination letters for NNSA probationary employees are being rescinded, but we do not have a good way to get in touch with those personnel. The individuals the letters referred to have been fired on Thursday and lost access to their federal government email accounts. NNSA, which is, we can't see. I don't. And remember, guys, everything I'm reading to you and all of the headlines that Freddie sends me and all of the stories that the liberals cling to and jump on are usually all BS. There's usually a very big spin on this that we're not going to see, and we have to kind of, use a little bit of conjecture, and come up with what's really going on here ourselves, or listen to, you know, alternative media sources who are doing real journalism and figuring out the truth behind this stuff. So I'm sure I don't have a lot of time to watch, and I don't watch as much political commentary as I used to, because now I do my own show and I don't want my opinions to be affected by other people's opinions, and I don't want to sound like Mockingbird Media where we're all just saying the same thing. But I'm sure if you're listening to some other bigger shows out there, I'm sure there's things that I don't know that are being talked about regarding this that the mainstream media is not telling us. And NSA, which is within the Department of Energy and oversees the nation's nuclear stockpile, cannot reach these employees directly and is now asking recipients of the email, please work with your supervisors to send this information once you get it to help people's personal contact emails. Like, I'm sure they don't have their freaking Facebook or something. The Department of Energy did not immediately respond to an NBC News request for comment. Isn't that who you'd want to talk to? Because it seems like they have a different story. President Donald Trump's administration has acted with unprecedented speed and, in some cases, questionable legality in seeking to cut large portions of the federal government, laying off staff, and ending contracts. But that speed has resulted in complications, including firing people agencies actually want to keep. It's happened this one time. Or, of course, the agencies want to keep their DEI hires and their secretaries and their pencil pushers and their climate change people. But it's so funny. The lefties complained about the $32 trillion debt for so long. You complain about the debt. You complain about too much government involved in our life. And you're anarcho-commies, which means you don't want any government. And then when somebody gets in there and starts gutting the government, making the government smaller, reducing our spending, then you bitch and moan about that. They're idiots. They just complain about everything. They just complain about anything. And then when they get a president in like Joe Biden, who's basically a corpse, there's radio silence. They don't say anything. They don't come out and critique their guy. I'll critique Trump when he does something I disagree with. But they won't critique their guy. They'll lie. They'll say, he's totally mentally capable. He's a great president. He's doing so many great things. Oh, such a good job. When eggs are $7.50 under Joe Biden, you don't hear lefties bitching about it. They're saying, he's doing a great job. We love Joe Biden. And then when Trump comes in his first month in office, the egg prices are getting a little higher because of something that started when he wasn't even in office yet. This stupid bird flu, which is probably more of the same thing, you know, when they were going around lighting all the chicken farms on fire. Now all of a sudden there's a bird flu, and we got agencies that are doing research into animal diseases. Crazy. Isn't that interesting? We were just reading about an agency that's researching into diseases spread by animals. Weren't they doing the same thing in that lab in China where something mystically escaped from the town of Wuhan, spread by pangolins? Trump is perfect. I wouldn't say perfect. He's not quite perfect, but he's very good. Some say the best. Elon Musk opens up about his experience. Speaking of Trump, yesterday was President's Day. Well, we're kind of going to touch on President's Day when we get to the last segment of the show, when we talk about the nationwide protest. But happy President's Day, everybody. We got the greatest president ever in office right now. So, while I was at that protest, I had to do it covertly, but I was celebrating. I was celebrating Trump. Look, Nightbot's on the job. Nightbot out here killing it. These people, these Democrats don't know anything. They're idiots.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro. All right, so I want to watch this interview. Oh, we don't have the full interview? I don't think we can watch the full interview. I don't think we have to. Well, we can go fast through rapid fire. Rapid fire, we're just going to talk about this cult and then a few other random stories that we'll burn through. Let me find the full thing here. Was this on Hannity? Because this is just a minute clip. Maybe we check the highlights. President Trump and Elon Musk. One day ago. See, they make it hard to find this. I think it was on Hannity. Here's Elon talking about Trump derangement syndrome that he's seen is a real thing ever since which is so true. 10 years ago when Elon was trying to get electric cars brought out and all the auto lobbies were going against him, the Democrats were totally on Elon's side. They're like, we got to save the climate. The world's going to end in 10 years, every 10 years. We got to save the climate. This Elon guy is a godsend. He's going to give us electric cars and save us, save the climate. And now they hate him just because he moves over to Trump. They hate Tulsi. They hate RFK. They loved all these people 6 months ago, a year ago. It's so dumb. Let's watch this. I'd like to find this whole interview. Exclusive Hannity interview. Airs tomorrow at 9. When is this? Maybe is that today? Oh, the full interview hasn't dropped yet. 9 Eastern time? It might be on right now. Is this on right now? Hold on, let's watch this highlight and I'm going to look for it.
And now, and again, you do all of this. I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left,
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less so.
I really didn't.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome. And I don't, you don't realize how real this is.
It is live right now.
Like, you can't reason with people. So, like, I was at a friend's.
Yeah, this is happening right now, actually. I thought this already happened, but this is just a preview clip. This is actually live right now. I'm going to watch it later, but Trump and Elon are sitting down together with Hannity right now.
Birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies. Okay, and they're like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "What is wrong, guys? Like, you can't have like a normal conversation." Yeah. And it's like it's like they become completely irrational.
Happening now. Trump and Hannity sit down for interview. Hold on. Let's watch this for a little bit. This is a streamer streaming it. I'd like to just find the source feed.
They were dying of starvation. He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina.
Okay, now you're going to rescue astronauts. And now, and again,
it's quite a dart.
You do all of this. I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left,
Yeah, not anymore.
This is where we just watched.
Killed that, huh?
I mean,
good timing.
I really didn't.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome. And I don't, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people.
This just started
I was at a friend's
20 minutes ago.
Birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner. And it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name.
We already heard this. I'm going to skip
and
back.
It was like they got shot with a dart in the for illegals. And yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, we went in there.
High-end hotels
this is
for illegals.
in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So what we're doing here is
AOC might be in trouble
too. One of the functions of the Doge team is just
AOC was telling immigrants how to not answer their door if feds knock on it. on some website where she teaches immigrants how to avoid capture, and she might be in trouble.
Just making sure that the presidential executive
The big
orders
booty
are actually
Latina
carried out.
herself.
And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing because the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
No. You're both aware, you have to be keenly aware.
And these these protesters don't even know. They say it's an oligarchy. They say anarchy over oligarchy. And they don't know what an oligarchy is.
That the media and the punditry class, not that, you know, I think you've proven they have no power anymore because they threw everything they had at you and they didn't win. And that was, you know, the New York Times, Washington Post, 3 networks, every late night comedy show, 2 cable channels. They just threw everything, lawfare, weaponization. Sure. And now I see they want you two to start. They want a divorce. They want.
Trump looks tired. He's getting up there in age. 4 years, man. 4 years. You got 4 more years, and then you can rest, bro. You need to rest after that, Trump.
You two to start hating each other, and they try. Oh, President Elon
Can't
Musk,
rest
for
yet.
example. You do know that they're doing that to you.
Oh, I see it all the time. They tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, "You know, they're trying to drive us apart." I said, "Absolutely." No, they said, "We have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet."
Bro, y'all know Trump ain't ceding control. Trump's in charge. Trump is the captain of this ship.
Meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do, actually.
They get it.
Yeah, he definitely is justifiably tired.
They really see what's happening.
Yes.
And this is why I love the guy. He has every reason to just go home and do what Biden did for 4 years while he was president. Take a nap in his basement. Amanda, get that person out of here, please. Or I can do it probably quicker than you. Oh, you got it. Thank you.
At the end of this interview, what I would like is,
you got it before I could.
I want people to know
Quick
the
on the
relationship and know more about you. What is the relationship, Mr. President?
Well, I respect him. I've always respected.
Yeah, he went through the ringer for so long. He had every reason to just stop. Just step out of the limelight, sit back, be rich, have sex with your gorgeous wife, and take a chill pill. But he said, no, I got to get back in there. I need 4 more years. We got to make America great again. I love it. I love it. It's amazing. All right, so I'm going to have to watch that full thing tonight. But I thought that interview already happened. It's happening right now. We lost some viewers because I was telling everybody about the interview. All right. So that's it for the. She is beautiful. So that's the Trump Elon. This is the first time they've had a sit down interview together, and it's on Hannity based. But that's it for the main story news, guys. Let's get into. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Guys, y'all know what time it is? It's time for the memes. I need a soundboard. I need a Streamlabs soundboard thing. Okay. Meme time, guys. Meme review. Let me tell you why my political views are saner than yours, says the big hairy transformer more than meets the eye guy with bows in his hair. He's got a bottle of estrogen pills, got some scissors with something red on them. I don't know what just happened with those scissors. Might have dang removed the Pepe. What the? Dang, what is this guy up to?
Beta!
That is not a man, baby. No, that is a man.
It's a man, baby!
Doesn't matter if you chop your wee-wee off and take estrogen. You're still a man. Next. Trump snap. Trump Thanos snap. There's Thanos doing the Trump snap. And just like that, there were only two genders again, male and female. Only two genders. Sorry. You can't be non-binary. You cannot be a dragonkin or a pixie folk. We don't do that in America. Nope. I think it's implied cast. Yeah. I think that's the. Thank you, Robert. Brilliant observation. Next. All right, Kendrick. Oh, Kendrick. That halftime show, guys. All I've been seeing on my feed is how deep it was and how I'm just too dumb to understand the messaging. I'm never going to get it. I'm too dumb. And I got all these geniuses on the internet telling me how dumb I am for not understanding the hidden messaging behind the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. This person said, "Thank you, Kendrick Lamar. For years, I have been paralyzed, stuck in a wheelchair. But when you started performing at the halftime show, I gained the strength to get up and turn that trash-ass music off. Thank you, Mr. Lamar, for all you did for the disabled community." He's making people walk again. Let's go. Kendrick out here making people walk again.
No, that doesn't work either.
Next. Taylor Swift after Travis Kelce proposes after getting 0 yards in a 48-22 loss. Maybe not. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Travis.
Beta!
Next. Watching bureaucrats you fired drive away in cars you made. Look at Elon peeking through the blinds.
It's a man, baby!
Next. The halftime show wasn't for you. Kendrick's message went over your head. Starter pack. Vapes, graffiti shirts, some pot, McDonald's, negative $146 in the bank account, defund the police, report card, DFCF, gangsta, dirty room, pick up your room, clean your room. This is the halftime show wasn't for you, and Kendrick's message went over your head. Starter pack. These are the geniuses who are saying that, I'm just too dumb to understand the complex messaging at that halftime show. Next. This is not a meme. It's just a bunch of people with Palestine and Mexico flags burning an American flag at a protest. You'd think that they'd be all right with being deported if this is such a horrible country. I think we should, even if they're citizens, I think we should deport all of these people to Guantanamo. How about that? Next. And then he said he was changing the name of the San Andreas Fault to Newsom's Fault.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Clean your room, bucko. Hey, bucko, clean your room. It's really tough for these young men these days. And one of the first things they need to do is they just need to go out and find their dragon. They have to find their dragon. They don't even clean their rooms. You need to get out there and clean your room, bucko. You have to fight the dragon, but you can't even fight the dragon if you haven't even cleaned your room yet. Next. You ain't been doing the education. You are seeing a three-dimensional projection of a three-dimensional projection of a four-dimensional object on a two-dimensional screen in a three-dimensional room. Dimensionception. You have now entered the the dimension zone. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Next. Clean the room and then fight your dragon. Serena Williams This is a tongue twister. Serena Williams crip walked for the culture and then went home to this guy. Looks like destiny. That's Serena Williams' husband. Yo, he must be richer than a mug. I guarantee you he got some money. He got money, baby. She crip walked for the culture and then she went home to this guy. You guys just don't understand the message. Message. Ding. Get him. Get him, Amanda. Get this punk. Get this loser. Next. Dorian Lamar. How do you spell owl? This is so funny. Okay. How do you spell owl as in lane? Like owl 9. Okay, I'll get him. Man, I might be busy. It's not even a clever troll. Like, you're not even a clever troll. It's like a low-tier troll. It's lame. How do you spell owl as in lane? Like owl 9. Clean up on owl 9. Clean up on owl 9. Get it? How do you spell owl as in lane? Like lane 9, like owl 9. Clean up on owl 9. This guy says, aisle 9, dumbass. Oh, you can't see because my face is in the way. It says, aisle 9, dumbass. Aisle 9. How do you spell owl? Owl as in lane. These are some... I mean, these people definitely understood the messaging in Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl show because these are some high IQ people. How do you spell owl as in lane, like owl 9? And he says, aisle 9, dumbass. Barack Smith Bama. This is some high IQ. You know, I wouldn't. You lost brain cells to that. Next. Normalize calling out South African racism. Hey, why do you always wear that mask? Black liberation. Black liberation. Take the mask off. Kill white people. Let's keep that mask on. Kill the boar. Kill the farmer. Trump will handle that. Trump will take care of that. Trump gonna make that stop.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro.
Next. Cheesiest pickup line ever. Cheesiest pickup line ever. Get it? It's a line of pickups, and they're filled with cheese. That's pretty cool, right? That's a good one. That's a good one.
No, that doesn't work either.
Next. Yeah, no. You gave your so this is God. This is guys at the well, not God, but this is, you know, the gatekeeper. He's got the Lamb's Book of Life in front of him. Dude showing up to heaven, walking up to him, and he says, yeah, no. You gave your grandfather's World War II guns to a gun buyback for an Applebee's gift card. Sorry, you're not getting into heaven.
Beta!
Next. The IRS auditing everyday Americans. Yay, that's great. We love that. The IRS being audited by Doge. No!
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Next. RFK Jr. sworn in on raw 32-ounce ribeye. Yo, look at RFK out here getting sworn in on a steak, baby. Yo.
It's a man, baby.
Look at Cheryl Hines. I don't know. I'm sure that this steak is not real, but I wonder if this is the real picture from him being sworn in. Look how angry she looks. Oh, wouldn't you hate to be married to that mean woman? I bet you she's at a protest. She was at a protest yesterday. Just a mean woman. Just a mean, angry lady. That's why his voice is blown out. He's got to yell at her all the time. Poor RFK. Next. Me, when I have alphabet soup, I only eat the vowels. My wife. Why? Me. Sometimes. You get it? Sometimes. I only eat the vowels. Why? Sometimes. You spell it Aisle. Yeah. Get it? You get it? Okay. Next. Freddie, I know you picked all the easy words in the spelling bee and the blind bee. You picked all the second grade words, and I was picking nothing but the hardest words, and I missed a couple, so I lost once. But we both know.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro.
You ain't been doing the education, Freddie. Here's the thing. Once black people get guns in this country, the gun laws will change. Trust me, says some random NPC liberal. Black guy says, hey, guys, I just bought a gun. White guy say, cool, let's go to the range and shoot, bud. NPC liberal rages. Come back here and be racist. Wait, no. No. Come back and be racist with us. Next. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Gay people, when they realize they slept 8 hours straight and not 8 hours gay. Dong! Donut, 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 donut. You didn't pick the words, but you picked the grade level, and you picked all the second grade word. You picked all the second grade levels, and I was picking high school grade level for all my words because I wanted to win and get the most points and win quicker. But I got tougher words, so I lost because you were just picking like dog, cat, tree, and I'm spelling like pneumonia ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis with my words. Next. Trump straw. Trump got a straw, baby. Let's go. That's an American straw right there. Look at Trump with that American straw. Nice.
It's a man, baby.
Next. I think we've done this meme like every year after the Super Bowl, but it's always a different team. Getting Chiefs Super Bowl, what was that? 59? Getting Chiefs Super Bowl 59 champ shirts tomorrow. Who's getting Chiefs Super Bowl 59 champion shirts tomorrow? These guys are. Ain't that right? Look at how happy these kids are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting some clothes tomorrow. This is actually a real thing. If you didn't know, when they do the Super Bowl, when the team wins, the team and all the coaches and all that stuff come out wearing the champion shirt. So obviously they have to have the shirts made for both teams before the Super Bowl because they don't know who's going to win, allegedly. So they make the shirts for both teams. The losing team, all of the shirts for all their championship Super Bowl shirts get sent to Africa to little starving pygmies and Ethiopian kids. So they get Chiefs Super Bowl champion shirts. I bet you those shirts are worth money. If they save them, they could probably sell them. What up, Chris? What up, Crook? Freddie is great at trees. Yeah, that's about it. Post it. It's in my phone. Look, I can't show you right now. It's in my phone. I'm not scared to post it. I just haven't. Get him, Amanda. Get him, Amanda. Get the lame. Get the whack troll. Bro, learn to troll better. Learn to troll better. See this Freddie guy? He's a smart troll. He's a high-level troll. He's final boss troll level. And he gets to hang out here. Even though he disagrees with everything I say, sometimes he'll get muted because he's annoying. But he's like boss level troll, final boss troll level. You're like I don't know, what's the like first enemy you fight in Final Fantasy or something? Like the little blob or something. You're just a blob. You're just a little blob. Juice. Ju. It's cruh and ju. Okay, next. Step up your troll skills, lame. Democrats. The federal government getting smaller and less powerful. Is this fascism? Is this what fascism looks like? The government getting smaller and less powerful and cutting spending to federal agencies where they're laundering our money for transgender surgeries in Guatemala? Is this what fascism looks like? Wow. Wow, I didn't know. He's a blob tier troll. He's like a blob. He's just a blob. He's not a Mewtwo or a Charizard. He's like a freaking Rattata. Next. Democrat State Rep Lori Pohotsky from Michigan sterilizes herself to avoid getting pregnant under Trump pregnancy. What? Is this a real story? I don't know if this is a real story. Let's fact check this meme. State rep sterilizes herself. Michigan advance. Death threats follow Michigan Democratic lawmakers' decision to have herself sterilized. Representative Lori Pohutsky says negative reaction has made her feel much more secure and validated in my choice. Michigan State Rep Lori Pohutsky said she's received death threats after revealing during a rally last week that she underwent voluntary sterilization because she was concerned about the future of reproductive health care during President Donald. You know, all you have to do is just stop being a slut. That's it. Just stop being a whore, and you'll be all right. You don't have to sterilize yourself because you're scared of getting pregnant and not being able to get an abortion under Trump's pregnancy. Pohutsky's comment during a 50-51 movement rally in Lansing last week. And this is the 50-51 is the one of the groups that put on the protest that I went to yesterday. It's 50 protests, 50 states, one day is what the number is supposed to mean. Rally was part of a national movement that aimed to hold 50 protests in 50 states on one day. I refuse to let my body be treated as currency by an administrator. Wait, who makes the money when you get your multiple abortions because you're a hoe? Planned Parenthood? Who funds that in your state? Michigan? Does the taxpayer fund your Planned Parenthoods? A sitting government official opted for voluntary sterilization because she was uncertain she would be able to access contraception in the future. Wow. Wow. Well, good thing nobody wants to have sex with you anyway. You're a nasty, nasty woman. Nobody's trying to hit that, Lori. Lori, nobody wants to hit that. You're fine. You didn't need to sterilize yourself. She looks like a who from the Grinch. Next. All right, quit spamming, Freddie. Spammer. You're not really spamming. You're just annoying me. She did the meme. Taylor Swift did the meme. Look at the monkey and look at Swifty. Swifty, monkey. Monkey, Swifty. Swift is monkey. Monkey is Swift. Swift is a monkey. Taylor Swift did the meme. Let's go.
No, that doesn't work either.
Next. Literally, okay, liberals say literally no one is trying to transition children. That's what we've been told for the last 4 years. Nobody is trying to transition their children. And then as soon as Trump comes in and makes it illegal to transition children, no, they're attacking trans rights are children's rights. We want to cut the boys' penises off. No.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Next. Robert Downey. I love Down syndrome people. They're very nice people. They're funny. They're some of the greatest people. But this is pretty funny. Robert Downey. That's Robert Downey.
It's a man, baby.
Next. In an alternate universe, President Harris is signing an executive order banning women from women's sports.
Beta!
Next. Democrats, when a black person has a non-leftist opinion, they slowly turn from Leo in this Aviator movie to Leo in Django Unchained. Dun, dun, dun. When a black person has a non-leftist opinion, they go from anti-racist, we love the blacks, to time for dang, I always forget what the word is. What's the fights called, Freddie? time to get the slaves to fight. Next. Who had Elon Musk hiring teenage tech geeks to teabag the government bureaucrats? Who had that this week? Who's got it? Who had that on their bingo card? Next. A decision was made at the grocery store this morning. They were so close to getting the 5-pound weights. But then at the last minute, they saw the hosties, they saw the Twinkies, the Mandingo fights. Yeah. Mandingo fights. I always forget what it's called. Dudes. I don't know what that means. A decision was made in the grocery store this morning. They switched the weights for the Twinkies. They went with the Twinkies. It would be kind of cool to, but the problem is it would have been kind of cool to see some guys dunking on women in the WNBA. All right. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse and its riders, and the name that rode upon him was Death, and darkness followed with him. Oh, look at the kitty cat. Little kitty cat on a unicorn. I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And the name of the name of the one who rode on him was Death, and hell followed with him. Oh, nice.
No, that doesn't work either.
Next. When you need $330 million for farming, USAID. What is that? What are these plants? What are they growing here? Oh, that's poppy. That's what they make heroin out of. I wish I had that in Arabic. Next. The book. He sliced some white bread. Netflix adaptation. That's not white bread. Whoa, hey.
Beta! You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
That is not white bread. That is dark bread. Next. What if slugs are just divorced snails? Yeah, Michelle took the house.
Beta!
Next. Taylor Swift. This guy's got a level. Look at that ass. There is no ass. No ass at all. That's called no ass at all. Look at dang Taylor. That thing's almost inverted. She almost got a convex ass. Have you ever seen a ass that went inside? That's what Taylor got. Look at this guy with a level. Seems straight to me. Yep. If Taylor's ass is this flat, then the earth could definitely be flat. Next. Happy Black History Month. When people get used to preferential treatment, equal treatment feels like discrimination, says Thomas Sowell.
It's a man, baby.
Next. Elon. USAID. You get the joke? This is O.J. Simpson. This is Nicole. She did. Ain't no sense praying for her no more. Ain't no sense in praying for USAID no more. They gone. She did. She gone. Next. 1970s long distance runner body. Chris is doing his research trying to prove me wrong, and you can't. Yeah, I think he probably could. I don't think you could beat him in a debate about anything. He could probably out-debate you about water being wet. You're not very smart, Freddie. Republicans will be exposed by this too. See, that's Chad. It's lefty, NPC lefty telling Chad, you know, Republicans are going to be exposed by all this government overreach and government spending too. Chad leans in close to NPC and Chad whispers in his ear, good. You dumb fuck. Maybe you haven't realized this yet. We don't like the rhinos either. We don't like any of them. You dumbass. Duh, good.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Next. Bro. Be transparent. Show us your income, says Warren and Bernie. Trump says, fine. Now it's your turn. No. That's fascism. That's fascism, Trump.
Beta.
Next. President Trump paid the Secret Service cost to attend the game out of his own pocket, the Super Bowl. The people don't pay me to watch football. My name's not Sleepy Joe. Yeah, that idiot that I had to kick from my Discord because he was a spurgy loser brought this up. This is like something Freddie would probably. Did you know Trump went to the thing and that cost taxpayers money? He's a multi-billionaire, and all of them are rich. You think they couldn't afford, and they get free tickets to the Super Bowl. Think they couldn't afford a trip to the Super Bowl, you morons?
Beta.
Next. Holy cow. That's blasphemous. That's a cow with a cross on his head. He's celebrating Ash Wednesday. Next. It was the best of Shires. It was the Worcestershires. Heinz Worcestershire sauce. It was the best of Shires. It was the worst of Shires. Nice. Next, we got to get through these quicker. When you have to kneel and apologize for being white. Whoa, kid, what are you doing? That kid's doing some dang Naruto move over here that looks very nefarious. What are you doing, kid? You need to calm down with that, white boy. When you have to kneel and apologize for being white. This is how you kneel. Holy moly. This is a dog whistle. Goon's not going to come around anymore if I keep dog whistling. Next. How you look opposing Doge. Leave the people stealing our money alone. Stop, Elon. He's a fascist. He's an oligarch. He's getting all the people that are stealing our money. I like having my money stolen. Yeah, it's an Indian peace single. That's the hockey stick clock. Imagine hating me and I'm over here making empanadasauruses. Imagine hating a guy like me when I'm just chilling making empanadasauruses. Dino bites. I call them dino bites. Next. The relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend is very psychological. One is psycho and the other is logical. Nice. Nice.
No, that doesn't work either.
Next. When she's cute, but then she starts telling you how liberal she is. She slowly transforms into this guy. What the? It's a downy. You just transformed into a hot chick into a downy in like 30 seconds. Dang.
It's a man, baby.
Next. There's nothing in the Constitution. This is a quote from Elizabeth Warren on January 30th, 2025. There is nothing in the Constitution that says ordinary Americans have a right to see what we're spending tax dollars on. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that. What's this? Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the Constitution. No money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. Huh? Oh, it looks like it is in the Constitution, Elizabeth Pocahontas.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
That's it for the memes. Memes are over. We got some funny reels to watch. Let's keep the funny going. Let's keep the funny going real quick. And then I'll do rapid fire news. And then we got to go quickly through the nationwide protests, watch a couple videos. And then I'll tell you about my thoughts about the one I went to. this real quick. All right. First, we got a funny reel here. Check this out. Watch to the end. This is epic. The ending is awesome. You ready for this? Watch this. What's this called? Where like a ruble device, Google's device, Rube. What am I thinking of? You know where like you push one thing and it goes down and then it goes and hits this and it makes this happen and then it goes a Rube Goldberg device, something like that, and it goes all around. This guy's got one set up and his dogs are participating in it. Check this out. It's the target. Target falls over, knocks the sled over, bounces the ball. Dog hits the ball. Boom! In the face. Right in the face. Let's one more time. It's almost perfect. Dog bounces it. Oh, the other dog comes out. Right in the face. Right in the face. Bro, that dog almost got nothing but net, but that other dog jumped in and got him. Let's go. Look like Jeremy's dogs. Check this out.
Doing a routine check.
Well, I'm an American citizen.
This is ice knocking at
questions
his door.
that'll determine that answer.
Okay.
How many points are scored in a football game?
6.
We want to make America
Great again.
Great
Who's the
again.
best female artist?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
All right, last question. Can you say Walmart?
Can you say Walmart?
Sir, can you say
Yes, I know. Walmart. No. Yeah, hello?
This is an
Taylor Swift. Yes. Get him. Okay, last.
Pyramids, slaves built the Parthenon, slaves built America, slaves. This is your song. Thank you, slaves. Thank you, slaves. Thank you, slaves. Slaves.
This is white virtue signaling. You know, these kids they're saying thank you. They're saying thank you to the slave.
This is your song. Thank you.
One more time.
Slaves built the pyramids.
That's wrong. Dinosaurs built the pyramids and slaves.
Slaves built the Parthenon. Slaves built America. Slaves. This is your song. Thank you. Slaves. Thank you. Slaves. Thank you. Slaves. Slaves.
They show the Grand Canyon. Slaves built the Grand Canyon.
This is your song. Thank you.
That's from Wonder Chosen that used to be on MTV. It was on Adult Swim. I've never seen that. All right. I had this set up in a different order. We're going to do the small stories real quick. So quick weather update. National weather. Historic flooding hits Kentucky. This is rapid fire news. We're going to burn through these stories real quick. But we have one focal point here in rapid fire. Some strange murders. They murdered a guy. Strange murders going on. They got a murderous cult going around. So we're going to talk about that. And then also a transgender individual named Sam was murdered by 5 people. And I'm going to show you the 5 people. And first it was a suspected hate crime, but now they're saying it wasn't a hate crime. But before we get to that, let's do a couple other quick stories. First, weather update, nationwide weather update. It was on MTV, not Adult Swim. I don't know. Maybe it was on both. Historic flooding hits Kentucky. Death toll rises to 14 as recovery efforts continue. Is it going to play an ad?
Spas. Master Spas blowout sale. This weekend, Utah State Fair Park.
In a much different story far south of here, the death toll from Kentucky's severe weather now has risen to 14.
It is heartbreaking down there. The governor touring the flood damage in Pike County yesterday. He now says that some businesses had 6 to 8 feet of water through their first floor alone. Governor Andy Beshear saying that the 2 new deaths being reported are likely hypothermia of 2 adults in Jefferson.
Damn, is it cold there? That would suck. Dying from hypothermia during a flood. Let me guess, a meth crime? Well, no, I think they're both, I think they're both crazy lefties. But we're gonna look into it.
Jefferson County, nearly 6 counties have declared emergencies, and more winter weather is expected.
One is a cult
tonight.
family, and one is like 5.
As the situation evolves, the
Antifa
Kentucky National Guard is transitioning from life-saving missions to recovery efforts focused on debris removal, restoring access, and transporting supplies to affected communities.
So Governor Beshear says the state is now pre-positioning the National Guard for the coming snow.
That's a football field.
Tonight and into tomorrow. He says 15 emergency shelters are open for flood victims, and he expects more warming shelters will open as well.
The water's halfway up to the
well.
That's crazy. So historic flooding in Kentucky. At least as long as we've been keeping records on it, am I right? You know, I don't actually know that it's actually, but yeah, that's sad. 14 people, death toll at 14 by now. It's probably going to go up. That's wild. Dashi full. Okay. What else we got? A little update on Eric Adams. What's going on with him? I guess they dropped the charges against, well, they didn't drop the prosecution against him, but they didn't want it to look too political because his opponent who's running against him was like pressing these charges on him, and now they dropped him. But now he's had 4 top deputies in Eric, this is from CNN Politics. 4 top deputies in Eric Adams' administration submitted their resignations Monday, and the latest sign of the New York mayor's cratering support among rank-and-file workers. And guess what? Guess what? I've said before, as far as Democrats go, he's one of the better ones. He's not horrible. I think he's actually gonna come to the right because he's seeing how when you try to do the right thing, when you try to stop all the immigration coming into your state that they let go on for so long, and you know, he let it happen for a little while, and then he saw the negative effects of it when you're putting a bunch of illegal immigrants into hotels. He said, we got to tighten up on this, and now they're coming after him. His people are dropping. You know, Trump saying nice things about him. They don't like that. He may end up switching sides now that he sees he might end up being a base black man here pretty soon. A better, yeah, he's a little bit better, you know, he's a little bit better. Anyway, Maria Torres Springer, first deputy mayor, Ann Williams Issam, deputy mayor for health and human services, Mira Joshi, deputy mayor for operations, and Chauncey Parker, deputy mayor for public safety, all notified Adams on Monday that they would step down from their posts. I'm disappointed to see them go, but given the current challenges, I understand the decision and wish them nothing but success in the future, Adams said in a statement announcing the resignations. The resignations of the city's highest profile public servants mark a significant shift for Adams' administration, which has been struggling to reset after a Department of Justice memo last week ordered federal prosecutors in New York to dismiss corruption charges against the mayor. So they dismissed the corruption charges because somebody in that group is running against him, and they don't want it to look politically motivated. Duh, of course it's politically motivated. The DOJ's order sparked a mass resignation of prosecutors in New York and Washington, including the Trump-installed acting U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, who resigned rather than carry out the order to dismiss the corruption case against Adams, a Democrat. The prosecutors decried the order to drop the charges, which cited in part Adams' role as mayor helping the Trump administration combat illegal immigration as a bargain amounting to a quid pro quo. Dumb. He's going to move to the right. He's going to see the light. He's going to get based. He's not going to fight. See, I'm rapping. Freddie, quit spurging in the chat, dumbass. Man offers to buy city dump in last-ditch effort to recover $800 million in Bitcoin. So remember the guy that lost his flash drive with I think he had 8,000. He had 8,000 Bitcoin on a flash drive and he lost it. And we've been following this story from the onset. He did a thing in court in January. Howells lost a court battle with Newport City County in Wales, which many expected would be his last shot at excavating the dump. So he was trying to get permission to go in and excavate at the landfill to find this needle in this haystack, a freaking flash drive in a landfill. You know, how much money are you going to spend doing that? Quite a bit. Maybe not, probably not $100 million, I'm sure. So they thought that was the last ditch effort. They thought that was last chance. Now he's thinking about buying the whole landfill. Howells told the New York Times that he's offered to buy the landfill. If he approved, he would remove every piece of trash, clearing out tens of thousands of tons and potentially sparing the city the cost of cleaning the site. So this helps the environment and it potentially helps him get. I'm just curious how much money it's going to cost to buy a landfill, clear out every piece of trash. Where are you going to move the trash to? Transporting it there. By the time you're done, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near 800 million, though. Probably be maybe like 50 million. I don't know how much. I have no idea. Then he would use a scanner with AI-trained detection technology and a magnetic belt to surface his long-lost hard drive containing the only copy of the 51-character private key he needs to get back into his cryptocurrency wallets, he told the Times. But the Newport Council appears unlikely to accept Howard's offer. The city has already secured permissions to develop a solar farm on a portion of the landfill property. That solar farm would help the city replace diesel garbage trucks with EVs. Well, why don't you sell him the landfill? Then you make money off of that with some sort of agreement that he sells it back to you at the end. Then you make profit. You make money. You sell him the landfill. You make the money. And you sell it back to him for like $1 is in the agreement. So you make all this money off the landfill. He cleans the trash out. Now you have the trash filled out for free. Finds his thing. Basically gives you the landfill back. And then you can build your solar farm on there. It saves you a lot of money. He does all the work for you. Why would that not be a smart move? My man's can't sleep at night. He's got to find that dang hard drive. I know, right? Dude, one day I think, I feel it. One day I'm just going to be walking down the road and there's going to be a hard drive on the ground. And I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to take it home. It's going to be that chip. I'm going to get that chip, boy. I already know it. I have a dream. Okay. Look at this. YouTuber, the Swedish maker, wears a MetaQuest 3 VR headset for his entire woodworking project and miraculously emerges with all fingers intact. So this is just a further proof that
What about using VR?
That Americans, people are just getting dumbed down in general. Somebody just did a documentary, or not a documentary, but a YouTube video recently that goes real in depth about how, I know everybody says this, it's a trope now that America is turning into idiocracy, but this guy made a YouTube video like really detailing how like reading levels are going down, intelligence is going down. They've studied how spell check, ever since they started doing spell check, people have been getting worse at spelling, and it's not helping people get better at spelling when the computer does all your spell checking for you. People can't remember phone numbers anymore because a phone keeps all the phone numbers in it. Well, now people aren't even going to know how to measure anymore. They're not going to be able to know how to do real carpentry anymore because they're just going to put a VR headset on. It's going to do all the math. It's going to do all the plans for them. They're not going to have to draw up plans and designs and measure things out and mark things out. You just put on a headset and you just do what it tells you. But I think there is going to be a lot of fingers lost because as people get dumber, they probably shouldn't be operating table saws with a VR headset on their head.
Oh man. Could the new technology help us become better woodworkers? Well, we're
going to become worse woodworkers because it's going to do it all for us.
About to find out. And will I succeed in making a piece of furniture with the headset on all throughout the project? And can I finally end it by making some custom solutions that IKEA could never make? This video is sponsored by PCB.
Okay, we're not going to watch this.
After a bit of a learning curve with the weird-shaped controllers, I slowly started to get a hang of it. I was riding roller coasters. Oh, hey! Hello.
You dead, bro. A rock just fell on your head. How'd you survive that?
Another circle.
This guy does a whole VR project with virtual reality. We're not going to watch this whole video. I just thought it was interesting. I think it's going to make people even more dumber.
Of the walnut to insert that as like the opening pin. I don't know if you can see this, but when I'm looking through on the screen, it's distorted, which makes me feel nauseous. So, but as I got started, it worked quite good doing the tasks in VR as well. I could see a future where you have the perfect see-through glasses, but could for instance bring up the plans. But looking through a set of cameras, it's a bit too far off. I finished the work with the shaper and had my drawer fronts and knobs made in a... The router table is the worst tool I have, especially when it comes to flush trimming smaller items, like these legs. I don't like doing it. I've had my fair share of catches and wood flying out of my hands to know that anything can happen at any time. But it worked out.
Okay, enough of that. Dude made a freaking cabinet with a VR headset on the whole time. That's basically my whole point. Is just that yeah, you don't have to do the measurements anymore. It does it all for you. You're still looking at it. You're still doing the craftsmanship with your hands and all that, but it's doing all the measuring. It's doing all the marking things out. So little by little, we're going to get dumber and dumber and dumber. The actual crypto dad itself is online. You just need the key data. Yeah, it's a 51 key password. So he's not just going to remember 51 digit code. He needs that hard drive for the code. Probably should have wrote it down somewhere on a notepad or something. Next, you'll need goggles to clean your house. Yeah. I need VR to know how to work my vacuum. Well, no, the vacuums are robots now. Okay. Now let's get to these two weird murder story cases things. So, leader of cult-like group linked to multiple killings is arrested in Maryland. Jack Lasota, 34, who goes by Ziz, was taken into custody Sunday on obstruction, trespassing, and firearms charge. But they're linked to multiple murders. So let's look at this weird cult family.
It's a story involving a lot of twists and turns and takes
But I think this Zach person is a transformer.
place all across the country.
So Pennsylvania, a couple was killed in December of 2022. Vermont, a U.S. border agent was killed January 20th, 2025.
It's centered around
In Maryland, they were arrested in 2025.
what police say is a cult-like group called the Zezians. All three
Zezians.
suspects arrested in Maryland yesterday are believed to be in this cult. Investigators believe 34-year-old Jack Lasota.
So I think Jack is either a guy converting to a girl or a girl converting to a guy. I don't know.
Is the leader, 26-year-old Daniel Blank and 32-year-old Michelle Zajko.
And that's a transformer. So it's like a tranny cult.
Are some of her followers. Zajko is from Delaware County, and she is the daughter of 68-year-old Rita Zajko and 71-year-old Richard Zajko. They were shot to death inside of their home on Highland Drive in Chester Heights back on New Year's Eve in 2022. At the time, investigators said they did not believe it was random. Court records detail surveillance video where Mom could be heard around the time of the murder. And investigators say Zachko had purchased a gun with a similar caliber to the one that was used in her parents' killing. Zachko was identified as a person of interest at the time of her parents' murder, but has never been charged. According to court records, this Zizian group has now been linked to at least 6 killings, including in California and most recently, Vermont. A few weeks ago, David Mallon, a U.S. Border Patrol agent who worked near the Canadian border, was killed in a shooting.
This was the big story. I remember this story. But then when they finally got him, they're linking him to all these murders. They're just traveling around murdering guys.
Shootout with other alleged Zizian associates. We now know that the gun used in that shootout was allegedly purchased by Zachko. Now, Zachko is in custody again. She, Blank, and Lesotho are all facing charges including resisting arrest and possession of a weapon.
These all look like Antifa people. Like the anarcho-commie types, the Antifa, the protest Trump and Elon types.
NBC News describes the Zizians as smart, techie vegans, many of them transgender women.
Many of them transgender women. So, wait, so that means that when they're saying daughter, those two are actually guys
who all share an obsession with the dangers of artificial intelligence. Lesotho, who goes by Ziz and identifies as a woman, is the alleged ring.
So that's a dude.
Leader.
Crazy.
Through hymns, hundreds.
It's almost like they have some sort of mental disability, some mental illness. Doo-doo girl. Doo-doo girl. Which one was a girl? The one that looked like a boy? They're going to have fun in prison? Well, depending on where they go to prison, they might end up getting to go to a women's prison where they can grape women all day. Not under Trump. Hopefully not under Trump. That ain't going to happen. So, Transformers raging out. If I believed in mental illness, I'd say they got one. But it's actually a spiritual illness. It's a demon. Federal and state officials have linked the Zizians groups to 5 homicides in multiple states, including the death of U.S. Border Patrol agent. The group met online through shared beliefs. So, crazy. I want to look more into this cult that they were doing, but we don't have time. One more story. This was has been being talked about a little bit in some of the stuff that I watch. So this is Sam Nordquist. Now, Sam is a trans man, I think, meaning a girl who identifies as a guy, who was murdered by a group of 5 people, tortured and murdered. And at first, people were saying, this is a hate crime. They killed Sam because they're trans. But then stories came out that said, this is not a hate crime. This is not a hate crime. I think the cover-up, this is just speculation. I'm just speculating, and I tend to be right about these things. But I think the reason that they backed off of the hate crime narrative is because they found out that the 5 people that murdered Sam were also mostly LGBT Antifa types. Lefty LGBT and Antifa types. 5 people ranging in age from 19 to 38 have been arrested and charged with second-degree murder with depraved indifference. According to the release, police identified the suspects as Precious. Oh, yeah, you look precious. Precious Arzuaga, Jennifer A. Quijando, Kyle Sage, Patrick A. Goodwin, and Emily Matoika. Investigators are still working to understand the relationships between the 5 suspects. CNN has reached out to attorneys. Attorneys told CNN they have no contact. The suspects were arraigned Friday morning and held at the Ontario County Jail without bail. Each suspect could have faced anywhere from 15 years to life in prison as convicted. Norquist had a heart of gold and wouldn't hurt anybody. She described her son as an animal lover who worked at home for vulnerable adults. According to CARE, he lived with his mother. So, in 2023, the facts of the circumstance of the crime are beyond depraved. No human being. So they tortured this person for a long time and then killed them. In 2023, there were 35 homicides of transgender or gender expansive people. Our trans and LGBTQIAAP plus community have always been integral to the fabric of our community. Holy cow. That's a strong nicotine pack. Woo! I got hiccups. That was a strong one. Yeah, they're neckbeards and LGBT people themselves. So first they said it's a hate crime. They thought it was straight people that just... Oh, I have hiccups. Hold on. Almost. They're not gone yet. Hold on. Hold on. Dude, can't get rid of him. I put Freddy in timeout for 5 minutes because he's annoying and retarded. They're real. I can't ignore it. If I try to talk through them, it'll be very distracting. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. These hiccups make me feel... You want a chair? Chair.
No, that doesn't work either.
Okay. Okay. The point is, at first they thought it was a hate crime, but then they found out that the people who murdered Sam were also part of the LGBT community. So now it's not a hate crime? I don't know. 5 people in New York face murder charges in the killing of transgender man from Minnesota. To mourn his loss, a group of about 100 people gathered in below zero temperature Monday on the steps of the state capitol in St. Paul. Attendees said they wanted justice for Sam Nordquist, a 24-year-old from Oakdale who had traveled to upstate New York in September to meet an online girlfriend. Bad idea. Do not travel across state to meet your online girlfriend. Susan Montgomery handed out pink paper hearts and hand warmers. Justice for Sam. Authorities in New York began searching for Nordquist after he was reported missing February 9th. They found remains identified as his in a field last week. A statement from New York State Police and Ontario County District Attorney's Office said Nordquist endured acts of violence and torture for more than a month by multiple people. After he was killed, they allegedly dumped his body in another county. Now, when the medical examiner looks anyway. I'm not gonna. This is sad, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna read the article as it says it. But anyway, authorities said they do not regard the case as a hate crime at this time, but their investigation continues. Prosecutors charged 5 people, all of whom lived in south of Rochester, to help alleviate the understandable concern his murder could be a hate crime. We are disclosing that Sam and his assailants were known to each other, identified as LGBTQ, and at least one of the defendants lived with Sam. So basically the point of this segment is to say, you know, we've seen a lot of school shootings lately from this group. Now we're seeing they're murdering their own, torturing and murdering their own. They're starting cults where they travel around the country and murder people. But I thought it was just young white guys doing. Well, I guess it still is a lot of. I guess they are still white guys, even though they identify as girls. But I thought it was like straight white Christian Republican type guys doing all these the white supremacists, the nationalist types. I thought they were doing all the murders in America. Looks to me like a bunch of Antifa neckbeards.
Her transgender son, Sam Nordquist, was tortured and murdered allegedly by 5 people in New York. Linda Nordquist is left simply wondering why.
Anyway, that's that. That was it for that story. Just wanted to kind of show that the demographic for murderers and serial killers seems to be changing. Interesting. Hiccups are easy. You just will them away. I wish I could. I wish I had free will not to get hiccups, but sometimes they just happen. I mean, it's like it's against my will. I don't want the hiccups. I try to freely will myself to not have hiccups, and they won't go away. It's crazy. It's like my will is being held captive by the hiccups. It's crazy. It's almost like I don't even have free will when I get the hiccups. Like my body's being taken over by something. All right. More chair. No, I wasn't missing the real meaning of your comment. Are you crazy? I got it. I'm not an idiot. And, you know, I actually don't disagree with you. Because, see, have you ever heard of Hiccup Girl? She got hiccups, and she freaked out about it, and she ended up having hiccups for like 10 years, became a celebrity about it. Then when her hiccups were gone and she wasn't in the spotlight anymore, guess what she did? She murdered a guy. So, yeah. My point still stands. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. But good job trying to be clever there. You almost got one. Okay. Last little chunk here. I don't have a lot of time. We can go till 9, and I'll just call Uber instead of taking a train to work. We had protests all over the country. So yesterday, and they're going to be going on a lot. It's going to keep happening. They've been happening every week constantly. But we had nationwide and actually global protest yesterday against Trump and almost more Elon. I saw. So I went to the Not My President's Day protest, and the video, I'm working on the video. Talked to a couple anarchists, which it really made me like, I don't know if Mosman's here, but so I don't identify as a Christian nationalist, because even though, you know, I don't think that the word nationalist is inherently bad, but there are connotations that come with it where people will connect you to radical types that I don't really like. And so I just say I'm just a Christian. And then my political views are more conservative, theocratic, somewhere in between the range of there. Those are actually pretty close on the political spectrum. If you've ever looked at the political compass, you'll know that theocracy and conservative are not that far from each other. It's just one is a little more Christian and a little more authoritative than the conservatives. Not much more, though. Not like radically different. They're pretty close to each other on the political compass. But so I don't call myself a Christian theocrat. I don't call myself a Christian nationalist. I just call myself a Christian because my religion and my political views should be separate. And after going to that protest yesterday and seeing all the anarchy symbols and talking to the anarchists, it like I do kind of have a problem with him flexing the anarchy A. He can do what he wants. I don't care. But like, it's not a good look because these people are trash. These are garbage human beings. They're not smart, and there's no way you can justify this worldview. And that's why every time he says it, people come, and you can tell him I said this. He can watch it, but not attacking him. I'm just saying it's like after going to that thing yesterday, I disagree with it even more because I saw. Like I was in the crowd with these people and I talked to them. Some of them are decent people, but they're so totally misled. People don't need to wear pronouns. Yeah. Yeah. Most of them are just misled, but a lot of them are angry. And this anarchy A, it represents something evil. It's an evil worldview. It's not a good idea. It's not logical. It's not sensical. And I demonstrated that. You'll see when I get the video out, when I talk to one of them, and I was very nice. Like, I was nice to everybody because I want to be able to keep going to these things and slowly kind of work my way into it and get interviews with people and talk to people. And I'm getting, the first interview I did, I was a little nervous because basically there was a big group of people and they're all fully masked, glasses, beanies, masks, and they got anarchy signs, and they're Antifa, and some of them are pretty big, and there's a whole lot of them in a crowd. And I walked up to the biggest dude, and I just said, "Hey, can I ask you about your sign?" And I just asked him like 2 questions, and I didn't even do any pushback, or I was warming up, and I was a little nervous, so. You'll see in the video, like, I don't really ask him anything. I just kind of say, hey, what's your sign about? It said anarchy over oligarchy. And I was like, who are the oligarchs? And he's like, the billionaire class, the Elon Musk, the Zuckerbergs. And then I said, and then what do you mean by anarchy? And then I was kind of trying to set up like a clippable moment because he said anarchy is the only way to save America. We need to totally tear down the entire system and start again. And I was like, to what extent do you mean tear down? Like, what do you mean by tear down? And I didn't think he was going to walk into this trap and be like, well, we're going to violently take it. And he didn't. But he said, we need to get all these people out of office and we need to start over again, which is a horrible idea, by the way. But start over with anarchy. And then I was like, okay, cool. Well, have a good day. Thank you. And I walked away. I just asked him like 2 questions. But then I talked to another kid with a flag, and you'll see in the video, it's a black and red flag, half red, half black, split down the angled at the middle. And I walked up to him and I was like, hey, can I ask you about your flag? I've never seen that flag before. What is that flag? I was being genuine. I didn't know that this was the anarcho-commie flag. And he said it's anarcho-communism. And so as soon as he said that, I know about anarcho-communism. So we actually had a good conversation. But you see, his brain kind of shuts down at some point because I said, so how do we deal with like private property and currency and things like that, like as opposed to anarcho-capitalism where they have money and they have a system of currency? How do you explain this with anarcho-communism? What are we going to do about private property and things? And he explained that pretty well. And then I said, what happens when there's a neighboring community that has disagreements with your community and they want the things you have. What are you going to do to stop them? And he essentially said we need private militias. We're going to have private militias. Then what's the point? How is this different than what we have right now? We have a country with communities and we have a militia. Like, how is this any different? So you're talking about military force, you're talking about hierarchical structures, you're talking about authority, you're talking about force, you're talking about currency. But no private capital. So you can't own land? What does that mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And you see as he's talking, his brain just shuts down and he goes, and then I kind of jump in for him and I'm like, hey man, I think the only type of anarchy that works is anarcho-primitivism. If we just go live out in the woods by ourselves, I'm totally with that. And he's like, yeah, but we can't really do that in this day and age. And I was like, yeah, the technology and all that. So we actually had a good conversation, and I don't think these were like horrible people, but it's a horrible idea. And at this protest, it was so vile. Like, I've went to the Stop the Steal protest on January 6th at the Salt Lake Capitol, and I went to Trump protests. The speakers are well-spoken. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's nice and friendly. Now, there will be, on the outskirts, there will be Proud Boys who are geared up and they got guns in their hands, on the outskirts of the thing. Those guys are just there because there's always counter protests and Antifa shows up and stuff. They're just there as security. And at this protest I was at yesterday, there was a dude with an AR and a gun on his hip, standing at the top of the steps, walking back and forth, and he had a rainbow badge and a pronoun badge and a gay hat on. Super gay guy, super lefty, commie, tanky guy with an AR in his hand. And I didn't feel threatened. Nobody felt threatened. He wasn't a threatening guy, just like nobody felt threatened when the Proud Boys are standing there with guns in their hands at the Capitol building. At our Capitol building on January 6th, there were a lot of guns. Lots of guns. Not like the one in Washington, D.C., where there were no guns. At our Capitol, where nothing happened, there was no violence, there was no, the building didn't get attacked, no problems at all. There were a lot of guns. But anyway, the point I'm making is at those protests, like, the speakers are well spoken and they're calm and they're speaking clearly and they have a message and things. This one, the speakers would get up there and say, I was raped when I was 14 and Trump is kind of that and we need to fight. And I thought if you say fight, that's a call to violence, right? That's like an insurrection. That's what I heard. That's what they said about Trump. These people were saying fight, go to battle, we're in a war, all these things. And it was just vile. Like, the people were coming, I'm a transgender and I have two and they all sound like Mel. I have two transgender kids and I'm a transgender and everybody's trans. And they're cussing. They're talking about nasty stuff. Trump is a piece of shit. F Trump, da-da-da. It's just like a vile place. And all of these single moms are there with their children. And their children are holding, I'm talking about 6-year-old kids with signs that say trans rights are human rights. Now, why are we talking to kids about their sexuality? This is sexualizing children. This is disgusting. It's evil. Like, I felt evil there. Then a girl comes up and says, I'm a Christian, and Christian would stand with Jesus would stand with the immigrants. Jesus would be here with us today. He would stand with the immigrants. He would stand with the transgenders. Jesus is pro-trans rights. He hung out with a prostitute, which is bullshit, by the way. Thanks, Josh. It works. I just used the JS Urban Monday Show electrical tape around the talk button to troubleshoot a CB radio. What does that mean? All they have is talking points, no real depth or understanding. Yeah, and like, everybody punch a Nazi, kill the Nazi. Listen, if you're labeling Trump and every Trump supporter as a Nazi, we used to murder Nazis. We used to not murder. We used to kill Nazis. We went to a war and we killed Nazis. Like, you're justifying killing somebody because they support a president that the majority of the president supports. One of the speakers said, you know, they might be taking stuff from us right now, but we are the majority. We are the majority and we have the power. And I was like, that's not what the election said. Like, it was a clean sweep. Easy win. Easy dub. Easy dub. Popular, electoral, House, Senate, clean sweep. America wanted Trump. The majority of Americans want Trump. And you're out here telling people that all of these Trump supporters are Nazis. See a Nazi, punch a Nazi, kill Nazis. This is it's a violent message, and they're all either the Antifa, the LGBT, they're all commies. They're all commies. They're anarchists and communists and anarcho-commies, which is a stupid oxymoron. Just like anarcho-Christian is an oxymoron, anarcho-commie is a moron. Anarchy cannot be with any other political system because then it wouldn't be anarchy. Can't be with a religious system or then it's not anarchy. You can't have hierarchical families because then it's not anarchy. And all these anarchists who are low IQ, violent people, spurgs, are out here calling for violence against anybody who supports Trump and marching down the streets. And I saw one of the ringleaders of it, and this lady was standing on, well, there were two ladies. This lady actually seemed kind of nice, but there was one lady standing on the corner kind of like organizing the chants and stuff. This was a vile woman. Like, this woman was just, demons were in this woman. And when they're marching down the street, I saw, so when you see it on the camera, when you see the video, you see him spray her, and now, or you see the aftermath of the spray, and you see her freaking out, and he sprays her again, and then he walks away, and then he gets jumped, which, you know, I know everyone's mad at him for jumping him, but I should have stayed closer to him so I could see it, because I knew it was going to happen. Once they got up the street a little bit, like 3 guys were following him, but then one guy was trying to keep him away from him. He's like, don't do anything to him. Don't do anything. And so I kind of just started walking the other way, and then I see people running that way. I'm like, oh shit, they got him, and I missed it. And so I get up there, and you see the aftermath of it. But they took him down, they dropped him, and then they kicked him a couple times, and then they helped him up. But it's not on the camera, but I saw when he first pepper sprayed her, and I thought it was silly string because it was orange. And so I didn't turn the camera immediately to it. Like, the camera's this way looking at the protest going down the street. And I look this way because I hear a guy and a girl yelling at each other. And she's screaming at him, and he holds up the pepper spray and sprays her. And I thought it was like, I thought they knew each other, and it was like a joke. It was like silly string because it was orange, and it was real thick and viscous, and it came out, and it looked like silly string, and it hit her sign, and I thought, oh, they're just messing around. And then I realized, oh shit, that's pepper spray. So I turned the camera, and he hits her again with the pepper spray, and then all the other stuff happens. But like, the way these people were acting, I don't necessarily know that she didn't start it. I don't know who started it, but this guy was like a crazy homeless guy. So what I'm thinking is they were marching down the road. She was in the sidewalk, and he probably yelled something at her. And then so she started yelling back and getting in his face with her sign and saying, because if I had walked in there with a Trump hat on, they would have mobbed me. Like, they would have swarmed around me. There would have been pushing, throwing stuff at me. I would have had to get the hell out of there real quick. So that's why I just kept it calm and just wanted to get some interviews. And mostly it was civil. It was mostly low energy because it was a really cold day. It was kind of rainy and snowy throughout the day. and most of the people were calm and stuff, but still, the vitriol and the animosity coming from the stage, it was just so hateful. And the signs and the lack of knowledge that any of these people have. Like, I wanted to ask the guy that said anarchy over oligarchy. I wanted to say, you know, you support anarchy, right? You want pretty much no government. So wouldn't a way to get, and then he said we need to break down the system and rebuild it. And I said, how do we tear down the system? He said, we need to get all these people out of government. I should have said, but again, I was nervous. It was the first person I talked to. I had just got there, and I've never really done interviews like this. But after talking to him, the next guy was easy. Like, I got it. I was on it. But that first interview, I was nervous, and I wish I would have thought of this, but I should have been like, doesn't it kind of seem contradictory then to not support Elon, who is currently gutting the government? If you want to get these people out so we can start again and rebuild, that's what Trump and Elon are doing. Like, they're gutting the government. They're taking all this money that we're paying towards stuff we don't know where it's going to. They're laundering money. Like, shouldn't you guys support this? And then also with the climate change, didn't you support Elon 10 years ago for bringing you electric cars? Every time a Tesla drove through the loop, they're yelling, sell your car, sell your car. That's capitalism, and that's not good for green energy. Like, there was one guy with a busted down old car who kept just driving around in circles. That's a lot of carbon emission to drive in circles all day around the protest in your gas guzzling car. That's a lot of greenhouse gases you're putting into the air. And then every time a Tesla comes by, you say, sell your car, sell your car. So now you guys are anti-environmentalist capitalists? I thought you were environmental anarchists, communists. So it's retarded. They like have no idea what they stand for. They just hate Trump. They hate Trump, therefore they hate Elon, therefore they hate Tulsi, therefore they hate RFK. I'm sure they're all vegan because they're against all the GMOs getting put in the food. They were probably anti-vaxxers 5 years ago. And now they love vaccines. They love processed food. They hate RFK. They don't want to get the country healthy again. They're vegans. But like it's all ridiculous. It blew my mind. And then just seeing the type of person that goes to this thing, it's all very stereotypical, exactly what you would expect to see there. Overweight, autistic, brightly colored hair, face piercings everywhere, a lot of single mothers with all their kids with them. But then there'd be like based looking families, you know? But then they have the wife, and you've seen her before. You see her. She looks like RFK's wife, the blonde, the short-haired blonde lady who just has that resting bitch face and just looks pissed off at everything. But base-looking dad, who's obviously the beta in the relationship, following her, carrying all the kids, pushing the stroller, no, he wouldn't be carrying the kids. He's got all the kids in the stroller, and he's pushing the stroller. You know that's beta. And the wife's like leading the march, and she's handing the signs to the kids. If there's a wife. Usually it's just a woman with a bunch of kids. But a couple times you see what would look like a traditional family. And they're taking part in all this. It was mind-blowing, but not really. Yeah, Cheryl Hines. Most people don't know where they stand because they have not thought deeply about it. Yeah, that's true, James. Foam stuff is garbage. May as well be shaving foam. Yeah, this girl had pepper spray on her face, and I was like, "Are you all right?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't even feel it. I'm fine. He didn't get me." I'm like, "Yeah, he did. It's on your face." And she's like, "I don't even feel it." So it was some weak pepper spray. But if she leaves that, but I don't think she went and like cleaned it off. If she leaves that on her face, it will mess her skin up. But so there were nationwide protests all over the country. Protests target Trump, Musk, and Doge in No Kings on President's Day rallies in cities nationwide. In Florida and California, local media outlets reported on hundreds of protesters carrying out Not My President's Day protests. The No Kings theme was orchestrated by the 5051 movement and marked the second set of protests crisscrossing the nation in less than 2 weeks. A similar nationwide event on February 5th drew participants in dozens of cities. Both sets of rallies denounced Mr. Trump and billionaire advisor Elon Musk, the head of the White House Department of Government Efficiency. Protesters slammed Trump and Musk's oligarch rule, call for action at Michigan Capitol, fight fascism. Protest in cities across the U.S. rally against Trump's policies. This is stuff from AP, CBS. And then in London, they had an anti-Trump rally protesting about him saying what he said about Gaza, that we're going to take over Gaza. Crazy. But let's watch a few videos, and then I got to get out of here, guys.
You went viral in my last video, by the way. People loved you.
Here's Caitlin Bennett, Liberty Hangout. Now, this is what I would like to do, is kind of troll them like this and have fun with them. But she's at a thing with like 50 old people and the green vest. There were actually no green vests at the thing, which kind of worried me. I was kind of, usually I'm used to, if I come in with a camera and I start asking questions, the green vests kind of swarm around me. There were no green vests at the thing I was at yesterday. There were people who I know were watching me, because you'll see it in the video, and maybe I'll like circle a guy. There's one guy who kept following me around, and he's always like kind of watching me and listening to me and getting close and listening to when I'm asking questions and stuff. But there were no green vests. But like Caitlin can get away with this here because it's a bunch of like old ladies, you know, chilling at like a circle doing a thing. This one was not like that. There was a lot of angry people there.
I love this game. Where's your cane? I'm so confused where your cane is. So you guys are making like everyone watch us. If you were just letting me go around and like be quiet and talk to people, this wouldn't be an issue right now, but you've now disturbed your entire protest.
Go away, poopy pants!
Be louder.
Go away, poopy pants, because they made up a story that Caitlin Benner pooped her pants at a college campus. We're not going to watch much of that. Let's watch the news coverage of this is at the Utah State Capitol. This is the one I was at. And I was trying to see if I got in the news. I think they were here before I was there.
Ready? Let's grab an interview.
We're just going to watch this interview they do real quick. What up, David? Grade school crap. Next week with Josh and Caitlin. Yeah, that would be cool.
Last name is Samantha Miles. That's SAMANTHA-MILES.
So this is one of the organizers of the 5051. Come on, ad. Samantha. Let's call it Sam.
I am the local media representative for the 5051 movement.
And what is going on here today?
Today, we've gathered people to stand for our mission, which is to uphold the Constitution and to limit executive order overreach.
And how many people do you estimate are coming out here today for this?
Goodness. I see at least 1,000 people, and I think we're going to have more.
And what are some of the biggest issues you guys are fighting against?
I don't think it was 1,000.
Like I said, it's all about limiting executive
Maybe
order
throughout the whole
overreach
day there were 1,000.
To reverse a lot of the unjust executive orders that have taken place and to uphold the Constitution.
And you do have some speakers, it sounds like. Who's all speaking here today?
I don't know exactly.
Anything else you'd like people to know?
A bunch of
I've said my
crazy
piece.
people.
Okay, and how long are you guys going to be out here today?
Our group is here until...
Here's another reason why I'm trying to, like, I have my hood up. I was wearing my former boss was at the apartments working when I was leaving, and he's like, "Why do you look like a gangbanger?" And I was like, because I was kind of dressed. I was hooded out, like that black and white varsity jacket I wear. Usually, I'll have it unbuttoned, and I'll have like a button-up shirt under it, so it's a slightly, thuggy looking jacket, skater looking, thuggy looking jacket. But when I put it on over a nice shirt and have nice pants on and nice shoes, it makes it look nice. Kind of, little thuggy fresh, but with a little, I make it look clean. But I had it fully buttoned up, and he's like, "You look like a gangbanger," and I was like, "Well, I'm going to an Antifa protest, and I need to blend in." Like, they're gonna keep doing these for 4 years, and what's gonna happen is, as I start putting these videos out, when they search on YouTube, SLC, Not My President's Day protest, my videos are going to come up. And so all these people are going to see my videos, and then they're going to see my channel, and then they're going to see the stuff I say on my channel. Like, we have some trolls in here right now who came in tonight. That could have been from that short that I put up. They're going to figure out really quick who I am. Okay? This is what they do. These people are chronically on the internet, and they're very good at scouring the internet and figuring out who people are, doxing people, things like this. So I'm trying to be very polite, blend in, ask questions, don't really give any pushback, just try to get some interviews. I'm just there in a journalistic capacity to ask questions, not really give my opinion. For now. Now, if they mark me and every time I walk in, they swarm on me, then we're going to go ham. Then it's just, I had the Trump hat in my backpack, and I had under my jacket, I had my Trump shirt flicking the people off saying you missed, but I never opened it up. I thought about maybe I would do that, but then I decided, no, I'm going to ride this out, and I'm going to try. I'm not trying to like deceive them, but I don't want to get killed, So, but I do want to get interviews, and I want to talk to them. So I'm going to always, when I go, I'm going to be friendly, not really do pushback, just ask questions, try to hear their side of the story. When that girl got pepper sprayed, I was like, "Hey, are you okay? Are you all right?" And when the dude did an interview with me, I was like, "Thank you, man." Dapped him up, and we were laughing and talking. So my friend is a reporter. He's been marked since 2019, and he has had to move 3 times since. Yeah, that's not bueno. No bueno. Yeah, this is risky, but I think in Salt Lake City, I think it'll be all right. And I'm not. The problem isn't what I say when I'm there or what I do when I'm there. The problem is when they find my videos on the internet, then they're gonna find my channel. When they find my channel, it's not gonna be good. Especially when they figure out, oh, that's the guy that used to come to the protest with dreadlocks and used to walk around with a Trump hat on and just yell at all of us. Because that's what I used to do. So, I don't know.
About 1 o'clock, and then there's another organization, the Druids for Change, that are going to be having another rally starting at...
The Druids for Change. So that's when I got there. This is before I got there.
2 and going to 4.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Have a good day.
This started at noon and went to 1, and I was not there. I got there at like... The Druids for Change one was 2 to 4. I got there at like 2 o'clock. And then at 4:15, we ended up walking down. I went home at like 5.
Yeah, you too.
Druids for Change, yes. See, it's kind of quiet, chill. It was relaxed. It was nothing more patriotic than fighting fascism. I bet you none of these people could tell me what fascism is. Like, even I heard like so I didn't know what the anarcho-commie flag was until yesterday. But then I hear 2 guys and I see that dude's waving the flag, and the one guy who was like had a camera and he was kind of nerdy and he was real nervous, and he's like, And his friend's like, don't worry, we don't have any bad actors here. There's no violence. It's very chill. There's not a lot of opposition. And he's like, well, what about that flag over there? That flag looks scary. What's that flag? And he said, that's the, I forget what he said, but he didn't even know what the flag was of his own people. At his own event, the event that he's at, he didn't even know what the anarcho-commie flag was. I forget what he told the guy it was, but it was not what it was. Because I talked to the guy waving the flag. So none of these people know what fascism is. They couldn't tell you 3 reasons why Trump is a fascist. They'll just tell you why they don't like him, and they hear the word fascism and they think it means Nazi. They couldn't tell me 3 reasons why Trump is a Nazi. But anyway, the video's coming soon.
Hey, Trisha and Joe, sorry about that interruption.
We're going to watch this video of protests across. This is in Vegas. I got to head out.
If you did hear any foul language, we got that resolved right now. But
yes, I hope you don't hear any foul language. Look at all the children. Yeah.
But the protest, it has pretty much wrapped up. There are still a couple dozen people that are out here.
Dude, the Vegas one looks weak. Vegas, they only got like 20 people.
Once again, this protest is basically against all Trump policies that are for immigration, transgender rights, diversity, and more. This is currently going on right now, as we are mentioning, on the Las Vegas Strip, but this is all part of the 50-51, which is 50 protests.
Yeah. The Trump protests or conservative protests are more fun to cover. Yeah, well, because usually, yeah.
50 states on one day here on President's Day. But here, check this out. This is a little video that we took earlier today. This is only 1 of 2 protests out in our valley. The first one actually featured an open mic with 50 people in our valley. While many continue...
Bro, that looks whack.
...to protest several Trump administration policies, there are still many people...
That's a whack protest, bro. That's whack. How is Vegas...
Many people here are
less than and now this is the one in London. They're protesting Gaza takeover plan. This is Al Jazeera. Remember, this is Muslim propaganda.
Angry at Donald Trump because of the comments that he made about Gazans being resettled in other countries in the Middle East. And even though those comments were roundly condemned by many in the international community, including US allies.
This is London, remember.
Still, for people here, it is not enough. But they're also not happy with the government of Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, saying that as long as the UK continues exporting arms to Israel, it is still complicit in the actions of the Israeli army. And we spoke to some of the people here at the protest. This is what they had to say.
We can't have Donald Trump dictating what's going to happen in Gaza and what's going to happen to...
Well, you don't have any say in it, lady. You're in England. Your country's being taken over by Muslims.
The people of Palestine.
Benjamin Netanyahu's also wanted.
Like, they have to say this or else they might get stabbed.
Criminal by the International Criminal Court. So we're here to also demand that if he steps foot into this country, he's immediately arrested.
This is the 24th major pro-Palestinian protest since October of 2023 here in London. And there are people from many walks of
These guys are homeless.
life, many ages, many ethnicities. Organizers say they will continue holding these marches as long as the condition of Palestinians in both Gaza and the occupied West Bank remains precarious.
All right, guys. So, yeah, nationwide protests. My thoughts on the one that I went to yesterday. The video should be done editing hopefully tonight. Should get it up by Friday. It's going to be about, I'm trying to keep it to 30 minutes. It's probably going to be about 40 minutes long. I'd probably get it down to 30 if I cut out a lot of the just me looking around at the protesters and stuff. I'm going to try to cut it down, get it down to 30 minutes. I got, in total, I did one like longer interview with which is like 2 minutes when I say long. Talked to the anarchy over oligarchy guy in full Antifa gear for a minute. I talked to the anarcho-communist flag kid, and he was all right. He was pretty cool. We had a good combo. Then I talked to a girl with a sign that said "Big Booty Latinas." It said, "Don't deport our big booty Latinas." And I was like, "Hey, can I ask you about your sign?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Does that say don't deport our big?" Now, I wasn't recording, so you see the sign in the video, but you don't see the interview because I wasn't recording. But I did do a kind of a funny edit in the video, and I was like, "Your sign it says don't deport our big booty Latinas." I was like, "Have you ever heard of Alex Stein?" And she said, "No, I don't know who that is." And I was like, "Where'd you get the idea for that sign?" She's like, "I don't know. We were just trying to think of something to come up with." And somebody said that they had heard somebody say big booty Latinas. And I was like, "Yeah, there's a video of a guy trolling AOC and he calls her a big booty Latina." And the girl's like, yeah, I think my friend had saw that clip and showed us that clip. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Okay. I thought your sign was really funny. See you later." And I was like, I don't know if she realizes that her sign is basically a slogan that a conservative came up with when he was roasting AOC. She's walking around with a sign with a slogan from Pimp on a Blimp. That's so funny to me. And she had no idea. But I talked to her, but I didn't record it. And then while we were marching down the street, there were two construction workers, and they're just looking at the parade, and they're like shaking their head. They're like, and I was like, "Hey, I see you shaking your head. Can I ask you a question? What do you think of all this?" And he said, "There's not an alpha male among them. There's not one alpha male in the whole bunch." And I was like, "Let's go." But and then we got the pepper spray incident recorded. So that video, I'm gonna try to get it down to 30 minutes. And I am planning to release it Friday. So we'll do Bible study tomorrow morning, Thursday, and Friday. And then after the Bible study on Friday, I will premiere the video. Don't protest smell like a Comic-Con? No, because it's outside. It's outside, but yeah, if I got close to any of those people, it probably would smell weird, but it's outside, so you don't smell much. Not as bad as a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. But all right, guys, I got to get out of here. Let me see if there's anybody I can raid. Is James still streaming? Or John? But I'm sure as soon as I send you over to Mosman, he's going to be done. Machine Lies? Send you over to Machine Lies. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's pretty cool. All right. I got to go, guys. This has been JS Urban Adventures, the Dreaded Conservative, Monday night, kicking the week off right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out if you haven't hit the like button yet. We only got 17 likes and 21 viewers. Some of you are straggling. Hit the like button. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the Bible study. We need to get through Exodus. I've been slacking. I've been missing some days because of all this other stuff going on. So I will catch you guys there in the morning around 10:30 Mountain Time-ish. So have a good week, guys. God bless. We out. Peace. Say what up to Machine Lies for me.